Are we live? There it goes. How's it going, everyone? And welcome to another episode of No Excuses with all of your favorite show hosts, RS Still.
Narian?
And Volacel, and we're all three of us here today to bring you the latest news and games commentary for the week, such as it was.
Yeah.
Unusually, they have let Fern out of his car.
Yeah, that doesn't happen often. It is what it is. Although you're copying it worse at the moment, so I'm not going to complain too much.
Yeah, it's been a really rough week for me, and there's not really any good reason for it either. It's just that the amount of stuff happening has just been high generally, and I don't know, people keep telling me I'll just leave it for tomorrow, as though it won't still be there needing to be done tomorrow. Like, I don't understand this logic. It seems though that there are people who do go through life that way, that just don't, if you can do it tomorrow, just go home, don't do it today. But that
There,
just results in more and more and more and more work.
there is a problem if you repeat it. The logic they're reaching for makes sense if you're able to judge your level of current mental fatigue. But the problem I find is that all the people that say just do it tomorrow aren't judging things based on their current level of mental fatigue. They're doing it because they're lazy, or
There
they're
is a
saying
certain appeal in procrastination. I'll give it that.
yeah, they're saying it because they're lazy and they just want to put it off until they absolutely don't have to.
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the work needs doing, so I'm going to do it until it's done. Like, it's not like I don't, call it and go home when I realize that, oh, I just made a mistake on that thing, and I don't normally make that mistake. That means I'm too tired to keep working. But I can't just go home because it's home time. That's not how the real world works, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, it's been pretty tough for me today. This week past, but it's not going to get any better. So it's best to try and keep things under control and sort of week over week gradually ease things back, and hopefully we'll get things back to normal before too long. But audit season is rolling forward, so it's probably not going to be normal again until about May at earliest.
Next batch of rocks.
All right. I guess we just jump into weeks then, shall we?
Start with
First of all, if
yours.
you'd like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com. You can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw. You can join us in the Discord server, the best place to communicate with the show hosts and other show listeners. You can get there by clicking on the link provided in the show description underneath the YouTube archive version of the show.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. Alrighty. So, weeks. Yeah, it's been work. It's always freaking work. Although my last week has been running around trying to get a car sold unnecessarily fast. So, yeah,
If
I've
it's
had a car
unnecessary, why you do it?
because someone opened his big fat mouth. So I've had a car that's just been sitting there that I just don't use. So I figured out just the other day, no, I'll sell it, get rid of it, be done with it. The day after I decided that, my dad just had already found a buyer who wanted it immediately. This is before I'd had the chance to get repairs and roadworthy done on it.
I see.
So and he'd also undercut the price.
What?
So not impressed.
What?
Why would he undercut
What?
it if it's your car? I don't understand.
Yeah. This is just how
This does
things
not
do
sound.
be sometimes.
This does not sound remotely helpful in any way. Everything
It
about that
really
seems
was
like a
not.
terrible idea.
It really was not. But it's done now, so car is sold. But it did make for a very unnecessarily hectic week.
I'm surprised you can get anything done in a short time span when a car is involved. Like, if you want a car like serviced or warranted or whatever, here, like you're looking at like minimum 2 or 3 weeks
Yeah,
minimum.
you are. So I've still got some stuff I've got to do, even though I've sold the car officially. I still need to take care of roadworthy and stuff. because otherwise I can't officially transfer ownership. So that's a thing.
This is at least locked in, right? Like,
Oh yeah,
you're
it's
not going to
completely
get
locked in.
rug pulled at the last second.
Now I've already got the money, so
Okay, at least there's that.
there's
At
that.
least you're getting the time value of money side of the equation.
Yes, if I didn't have the money, things would be very different. So yeah, anywho, as far as Vidya, the main thing I played was a demo of Windrose, which is a pirate game. Now, do you guys remember Atlas? I'm going to assume no at this point. That was the pirate game that was built by the Ark guy.
I remember that it was made to exist, but I seem to recall it being a catastrophe of some kind.
Of several kinds. So yeah, they built the game. The game and core ideas behind Atlas were a lot of fun and very good. But
Were they significantly different from like Sea of Thieves or whatever?
they were involved a lot of open world MMO style base building and all sorts of stuff like that. So you build a fully
Right.
customizable ship and crew it, and then go out and explore the world and all that sort of stuff. But the problem is the people who were developing it were incompetent boobs, who then sold the game on to a group of even more incompetent boobs. So the game ultimately ended up going nowhere, and every patch they implemented to attempt to fix the issues with the game and the bugs and the balancing and the problems with the super guilds running around just made things worse.
So, is this like a finished and released, or a
Oh no,
early
it
access,
is
or what are we looking at here?
officially it is still in early access. In reality, it is abandoned.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they just randomly just went completely silent one day, and that was the end of it. So Windrose takes a lot of those ideas, your fully customizable ship, your base building, your multiple islands you can explore, and just shrinks it down to a 4-player co-op game.
The map popped up when we broke those rocks, and I was mash and jump, and so I have abandoned you to do that car.
It's going to take a long time with Mornier's damage, I'm here to tell you.
Are you about to get isekai'd?
I'm gonna get isekai'd.
Isekai'd.
Alt came up, and Mornier may not do much damage with anything else, but at least her alt hits semi-respectably.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on my end of things, I'm about to fight a very angry noodle, so I might have to focus on that.
Okay, you're at coming up to the end of that part of the game. You're about to go to Black Shores.
Yeah. What is it with Longs always taking that same pose too? The Dragon Ball pose.
It's like a power stance for dragons.
It is. Like you know what you're dealing with, and you're about to get your ass kicked when you see a dragon take that stance.
I hope you're close enough to get these rocks.
It's like the long equivalent of dabbing.
It is.
When
I mean, yeah, the Dragon Ball dragons all do it. This guy does it, Jue, and Kaido in One Piece does it. Exactly the same pose.
What you call it? Kiryu does it in Ichiban's imagination.
I mean,
Wait, is Kiryu like actually a dragon in Ichiban's imagination?
Yes.
Yes. Don't
Let's see.
think about it. Just don't. Because Ichiban certainly.
Oh, I think he's thinking
I think
about
Ichiban
it.
just wanted to pretend he was fighting a dragon.
I think the problem here is that Ichiban's thinking about it way too hard.
Maybe. He just wants to fight a dragon. Let the guy have his fun. Which, honestly, that's the best bit about the Ichiban's games is when you actually think about what everybody else is seeing.
You mean they're not seeing the pornographero?
They are not seeing the pornographero. They're seeing a guy in a pink suit beating up on a hobo.
I mean, to be fair, the pornographero is not the most outrageous thing. Like, I could see that guy existing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, now that it's actually in a game, I would not be surprised if someone shows up to a con cosplaying at it as it, and probably gets thrown out.
I'm positive somebody has already shown up as the pornographer somewhere.
Except they try to throw him out, except he's way too
slippery.
slippery.
I'm going to have to.
He is well lubricated.
I'm actually going to crank the volume up on the headset a hair so that y'all can be sure y'all can hear Volenfern.
So that ended up taking a very strange route. So yeah, Windrose rather. I like it. It's very, very fun. It can be played single player quite comfortably, unlike Atlas, where you just end up grinding all day for nothing half the time. But it is still a demo, but the demo has a fair bit of content in it and lets you go through and experience what the basic idea of the game is, at least.
I liked Windrose better when it was a Tolkien dwarf themed power metal band.
Yeah, about to say, when you said Windrose, the first thing that came to my mind was Diggy Diggy Hole.
I forgot about the Diggy Diggy Hole guys.
Yeah,
But yeah, that is Windrose.
I haven't bought their latest album, actually. I've got several of their other albums. They're all great.
I think they've got the new Diggy Diggy Hole on it. Diggy Diggy Hole now has a sequel. Diggy Diggy Hole did not need a sequel, but now it has one. So
it's just really generally very quality power metal, and it's quite underrated in my opinion. Like people generally take Sabaton as the gold standard, and Sabaton is really good fun power metal, but Windrose does have its own sort of flavor to it, which is it's different, but I think it's just as good personally. But it is a matter of taste.
They also routinely use anvils as a musical instrument.
Well, I mean, in for a penny, in for a pound, as far as the dwarf thing's concerned.
Exactly.
More than Diggy Hole itself, I'll remember Windrose for introducing me to Glory Hammer and the absurdity that is that universe.
Glory Hammer
I never really stuck with Glory Hammer. Like, there's a couple of songs that I like, especially that recent one, the Robot Prince one.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, there are a couple of Glory Hammer songs I like, but I think a lot of them are just a little bit too cringe for me, and I think that they lean way too heavy on the electronic keyboard compared to other power metal. Like, I know it's a staple of the genre, but I feel like they lean on it too hard.
Yeah,
I can see that.
I love the big dumb corniness of their songs. Their fans take their canon discussions way too seriously. But
I just like the idea that this entire sort of like time and space spanning thing functionally takes place in Scotland.
Yes, infinite Scotland.
I remember
it's still Scotland.
Yeah,
it's still Scotland.
I remember when the Hatchet Girl defended herself in that area came out, and she was in Dundee. I'm like, did Zargothrax actually attempt to kidnap somebody?
Everything Scotland.
Also, I love that the whole premise of their band, Evil Villain, is somebody got mad because the government came in and imposed eminent domain.
Yeah. Which, let's face it, it's not too far from the truth.
As far as Starts of Darkness go, that one's at least kind of understandable.
Yeah. So yeah, pirate game. Good pirate game. Go play it. There you go.
Also, my tracker ran out of red rocks.
Rocks.
Use the, what should we call it, interactive map. Because the tracker tracks about 1/3 of them.
That shiz up.
Other stuff I did this week is I finished the expedition in No Man's Sky. I am very gratified.
Remind me again what an expedition is in this context.
It is a limited time event where basically they give you a set of objectives and a scenario. And you just kind of work your way through it and unlock rewards as you go. At the end, you can turn it into just a standard game, and that gives you a massive head start. And usually, you're kind of unbalanced for regular game at the end of it, but that doesn't matter too much. In this case, it was all about picking up rubbish on planets and dumping it into resource deposits with your new flatbed truck, which apparently lacks tie-down straps. I am very gratified to say that by the time you finish it, you can actually turn that truck into a crab,
Uh,
as is the ultimate life form.
I would say I see, but I don't see at all.
You shouldn't. But yeah, crab truck. I'm happy for that. So yeah, it's not the greatest expedition they've done. It gets very repetitive very quickly because you do a lot of just driving around, waiting for the physics engine to figure out if it's going to let you cross the mountain and not fling all your stuff everywhere. But it's a worthwhile addition to the game.
There's a treasure chest here that I have not gotten.
Treasure.
It's a big old obvious chest like that.
Yar. And really, that's it for my weeks. I haven't done a whole lot. I spent a lot of time just sitting and doom scrolling, admittedly, which is
Bad,
never a good thing. Don't do that.
bad for you.
Very bad for you. And honestly, I don't see the appeal. But you kind of just get stuck doing it.
Like,
Well, it's designed to do that though, right? Like it's
Mm.
designed to manipulate your neurochemistry to incite you to just swipe one more time.
Which
yeah,
reminds me, actually, apparently there's been legislation going through the UK at the moment to basically kill the doom scroll by forcing breaks in the stream. But that's how doom scrolling works. Is because you just keep swipe, swipe, swipe. There's no stopping point, and that's how they get you.
yeah.
So yeah, admittedly, a lot of my doom scrolling ended up being Hololive brain rot. So, I mean, there's that.
It was the brain rottiest.
Bibu is, of course, very, very brain rot, but Gigi is brain rot incarnate at this point.
There it is.
She is the zoomiest of zoomers.
Yeah, she's her generation's Bibu.
Yeah.
Basically, there's always in every generation there is usually one who is way more unhinged than the others as far as their streaming habits and behavior are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And say in Advent's case that's Bibu because she's like routinely does streams in excess of 10 hours and that sort of thing.
Yes. And half of the time it's something like Elden Ring or Devil May Cry or something like that. Gigi's longest stream, I think, was 21 hours of her singing 21st of September, really badly, on loop.
Well, if I mean, you do anything for 21 hours by about the you get to the teens, I'm not even sure you recognize what you're doing anymore.
Yeah, it got so bad that basically everyone left her stream to go watch Crony for a while, but who is kind of like the complete opposite of Gigi in a lot of ways. But Crony didn't know what
Crony is
Gigi...
one of those people who I'm like, I hope that's a character because she seems like she's got some issues.
Do you ever smile?
I don't.
Yeah.
She seems like a very likable woman. The problem is that she doesn't like herself.
But yeah, the worst part of that stream is Crony didn't know what Gigi was actually up to and just realized that a lot of people were coming into her stream. So when she ended her stream, she saw, oh, look, Gigi's streaming, and just threw that entire audience straight back into hell. There are certain moments in internet history, and that is one of them. That is indeed a moment. But yeah, I don't sit down and watch like long form Hololive streams. I'll sit down and just watch the clips and the short form stuff. I admit though, I could just sit down and just watch Legend of Polka basically all day.
Yeah, I don't usually watch full streams. Occasionally, I'm willing to watch full streams of Ina, but usually not the others because Ina's low key enough that it's not stressful.
Yeah.
Although
I don't...
you are definitely going to groan now and again.
Yeah, because you'll catch a pun and that'll be a really bad pun. They're all bad puns. Like
It,
some of them I can have them on in the second screen just doing things, except for Shiori, who usually says something completely unhinged out of the blue, and I have to just go back and go, hang on, what? Yeah, Polka's short form show. She has a scriptwriter who is routinely part of her show. That man's job is completely redundant. He might write a script. They don't stay to the script.
Yeah, Shiori's interesting.
Shiori is a worry, a very strange person.
I'm starting to wonder if my map is off center. I opened it in window mode.
Maybe. Actually, wasn't there supposed to be Indonesia 4 coming out? I thought that was supposed to be out by now.
I don't know. I've never followed any of the Indonesian ones, even though, they're kind of more like English ones at sometimes.
Well, there was a period of time where Ollie was just literally everywhere. She was on everyone's stream, and including a lot of not Hololive.
The only thing I know about Indonesia is that allegedly Zeta is not a cat.
So she says. She is a cat.
I mean, I do remember them. I do remember them playing a game where it would record you making sounds or whatever and try and match it to a recorded one, and it would give you a score based on how closely you could match it. And Zeta just sort of idly tried it and got a perfect 100% match for a cat.
So yeah, it's fun second screen stuff for the most part.
I think the map is this one.
I did harvest like 3 Scarlet Thorns in this area.
Oh, okay. Oh. I just gotten them out.
All right. I've got a big moment going on in Woowa, so I'm going to pay some attention to this.
Yeah,
and then probably fight a noodle.
Well, I still can blither about East for a while then.
Yeah. Oh, I was trying to think while y'all were talking of the any of the Hololive stuff I watched lately. I haven't even watched. I don't think I know anybody from the newest generations, or even, and the only one from before that I know from the previous one is Bibu.
Well, I mean, my normative background noise is usually like Top Gear reruns.
I mean, yeah.
I just find them endlessly entertaining. I don't know why. It doesn't matter how many times I've seen a challenge or a race or whatever. They still entertain me every time.
It's a shame that they've largely retired now.
I mean, you have to eventually. They did that show for decades.
Yeah, incidentally, watch Clarkson's Farm. It's actually very interesting.
Yeah,
but,
I don't want Amazon.
Yeah, there's the whole Amazon side of things.
If it didn't involve Amazon, then I would watch it.
Yeah. You've got the Grand Tour, which is also Amazon, but that's basically old school Top Gear. They did some weird things in the first season, but because I was just playing around with ideas. But yeah, they kind of just basically settled into the old formula for a while, then just did nothing but specials for a while. And now they've got a new set of hosts. Because those three just can't do it anymore. They're getting a bit old.
Well, they still do various things, like Clarkson Farm's obviously still running ongoing. James May has this YouTube channel of sorts, which is, he insists is just a marketing exercise for his gin, James Gin.
Yeah,
as he will tell
James
you.
Gin.
But it's basically him. He's got this couple of assistants, Lucy Brown and I can't remember the other girl's name, and they basically just come up with stuff for him to do, and he does it while being as curmudgeonly as possible about it, typically.
Yes.
And this is
And
is
usually it's
generally
something.
held to be great entertainment.
Yes. Usually it's something nerdy or just goofy. Or in
Or
a lot of
involves
cases,
attempting to cook something.
oh yeah, you don't want this man to cook. And more often than not, it's something utterly pointless.
Well, his one of James May's claims to fame is that he once entered a pie contest and he beat Gordon Ramsay,
Okay.
and apparently Gordon Ramsay was not especially pleased by this.
Well, he's not pleased by anything. You could hand that man, literal sunshine and rainbows, and he'd be angry about it.
Yeah, but also losing a cooking competition to James May.
Yeah. That one's got a sting. All right. Am I fighting a noodle now? Yes, I think. All right. So that's basically been my week. It's just been random stuff. But yeah, Windrose, excellent band, and also now a good game.
All right. We want to do this.
Up to you. You're the only one who's
Easy.
played it.
Yeah,
so.
I know. I'm more thinking, how do I want to place myself in Woowa so that I can still move move towards rocks while talking. I will just follow you.
Well, then I've got to try and work out where you've been. Let's see.
When you said start following the map, I started at the bottom and started heading left.
Right, let's see. Interactive map. Wuthering Waves map. Where are we on the map right now?
All right. So while he figures that out, so East continues. We got last week I talked about how I had started East 10 and how I had finished 2 of the smaller games in the week beforehand. I was about 15 to 20 hours in, I think. Maybe a little bit, not quite that far. In East 10. And I finished it right before the show started. So had to marathon it a good chunk of today to get there, but did manage to finish it before the show. So, first things first with it. Does the combat hold up to what I was experiencing earlier? It does fall off some because the game just is not able to keep up with the level of power it gives the characters as time marches on Nightmare. So you will eventually run into the you're just gonna bulldoze your way through. That turtle is having a grand old time. He's also a phantom turtle.
Aren't they all Phantom Turtles for you, though?
No, not that one. That one was very, very clearly a phantom turtle. When I collect the echo, it shows phantom turtle, but that turtle in particular was white when he was raven out. Anyway.
It was a phantom on my screen as well.
Yeah. So yeah. So unfortunately, it Nightmare mode was not able to keep up with that difficulty that I liked early, just because when you get tools to make yourself stronger, the game's difficulty level just can't keep up with it, like most modern East games. So that's fairly normal for East, though. The thing that breaks it this time is a little novel, though. Instead of just having 1 or 2 busted skills, the skills are actually fairly balanced for once. What we got is the revenge mechanic, and basically what this mechanic does is it makes it so that anytime you perfect block or dodge an attack, your next attack that's a duo skill that uses both of your characters will receive a multiplier to it. And as you go through the game, you can increase this maximum multiplier up to 5 times. And you can bank perfect guards and dodges to get that stack all the way up to times 5. So all you got to do is perfect dodge the blue speed attacks and perfect guard absolutely everything else. And then press a duo attack button and watch everything turn to gray paste. And then all nightmare mode's doing for you once you get to this point, because this is clearly what they want you to do with the end game, because it at least forces some engagement with the bosses. Just unfortunately just makes the trash really tanky. And just take a lot of hits to bring down. So that was a bit unfortunate. But that was really the only part that disappointed me for the game. The exploration was great the whole way through. I did not plan on using a guide anyway, but I'm for these, because modern East games telegraph what you got to do to 100% pretty well. So I used a Steam Missables guide for the original East, and thankfully that worked for Proud Nordics. In that, oh, you are a level 120 gorilla.
You'll be fine.
Fine, just a big monkey.
Yeah, I just need Galbrainen not to touch it.
Incidentally, I am hitting Jue with Jue.
Yes, you do.
That's not how this fight is supposed to go, I think.
Pretty sure that's exactly how that
You'll be
fight's supposed to go.
fine. Where exactly am I on the map? Oh, there's some Scarlet Thorn.
So yeah. The exploration, the story, and the characters were all good the whole way through. So yeah, I was very, very pleased with that. The boat actually got more fun to use instead of less fun, like I was worried about. Once you get some speed on that boat for exploring the world map, it becomes a very novel and fun way to do things. The ship battles are simple; they become a little bit more complex as time goes on, but they don't remain. They're not the focus of the gameplay, so they remain just a fun little side thing with the boat. They are mandatory a few times, but the fights are really easy, so they don't get in the way of you actually exploring on the various islands and land masses that make up the Balta Sea. Oh, Fern, you are aware that everything in East is just like 1 or 2 letters removed from a real world thing in the rough geographical equivalent, right? Okay.
Yeah, they didn't put a whole lot of imagination behind their name.
No.
I still think Roman is the funniest.
I cracked up when I saw Denmark.
Denmark, yes.
That one's the first one to make me go, lol, what? So yeah, that was that. So yeah, the big thing with this one is it doesn't focus on the side characters as much, and tries to tell more of an overarching story the whole way through than a bunch of the East games did. The only other one that's really tried to do this, but it did a much better job weaving them both together, was 8. And really spends most of its time focusing on Karja as the character of interest. Now, as I mentioned last week, I hate to burst your bubble, but you already know this because we can see the future. And this is the second game in the timeline after the East 1 and 2 duology. Karja and Adel are not a thing. They're not an item. Despite the best efforts of everything with no Y chromosome on that boat, they are the best Karja can muster up for our little adventure addict. Is I'll be with you if you ever need me, Shield brother. Just give me a call and I'll swoop in and come help you. That's as far as that ship's gonna sail. Pun intended. So
to be fair, Adol's probably adventure sexual.
Yeah, he definitely is.
That's a term.
So, like, everything with 2X chromosomes is trying to ship them on that boat. And it is not working because Karja has one mode and it's let me ask you a question. And Adel has one mode and it is adventure. Like you say, undiscovered or ruins, and they literally give him Bishi sparkles anytime a stereotypical adventure scenario pops up. Like the boy just lights up like a Christmas tree.
Adventure.
So yeah, the standard gameplay, even though it loses some of its challenges, is still fun and fine. There's enough there to hold you through the whole game. If it had gone on any longer, it definitely would have overstayed its welcome, I think. Because the duo skills just get too busted. And I was already imposing silly restrictions on myself to make the challenge last a bit longer, which is not a good sign. Like on Nightmare mode, you don't get the empty bottles back when you use a potion to make more potions. Once you use a potion, that's it. You can't get any more. So you get an empty bottle, you craft it into a potion, and once you use it, that potion and bottle are gone. But on every difficulty below Nightmare, you get to keep the bottle and can go spend more mats to make more potions. But on Nightmare mode, you're not supposed to have unlimited healing, in theory. Problem, picnic baskets. Picnic baskets, yeah,
Picnic baskets.
they are reusable healing items. They do not heal all at once, and the heal over time is not very big. But if you pop one before a fight and you're just taking the occasional stray hit, you're not going to die. So yeah, restricted myself to not use the picnic baskets. Aside from the item drop picnic basket, which still has health regen, but for 150 seconds gives you item drop rate up for late game farming. But other than that, did not use the picnic baskets. And yeah, basically, I really enjoyed the game and just wanted to keep playing the whole way through. The new content is mostly gameplay related. It's a whole bunch of extra gameplay stuff with a few minor bits on history of the Normans and why they had to leave their quote lands to the north unquote. I don't think they actually name their original homeland. They don't pick one of the.
Just at my current position.
Come on.
There's a little one though. Asteroid is asteroid.
But yeah, they don't. I don't think they actually nail down which fake country or region their hometown is from, but it's been destroyed anyway, wherever it was, to the far north. And they have you confront some new local deity tier power at the end of it, and explain a bit more of Karja's family and what the Denmark people that aren't part of the Balta Sea Force are like. So it's interesting for that, and the two new characters that it focuses on, Karja's cousin and his shield sister, who is definitely in full ship mode with him, and they might be married. Are a treat the whole way through the extra content. It is totally divorced from the main story in the main game, for the stuff in Proud Nordics, but at least the story stuff is with a ginormous island. Oh, the northern landmass more so than an island at the very tippy top of the map. That apparently was on the original map to begin with and just had nothing on it, and you couldn't land on it or sail to it. This place is absolutely massive with, I think, a total of 5 or 6 levels. And here's the thing about the new areas. You know how when we were playing Final Fantasy XIV, Yoshi P would always complain about PS3 limitations?
Yes.
Well, they weren't, publicly advertising as such. It is very clear Falcom was not happy with Switch 1 limitations.
Them and just about everyone else.
Yeah. So they decided to cram as many character models as their little engine can render on these maps. And they are huge and massive. And you open your map, and it will look like chickenpox. Like, your map is just covered in red dots. And because the new battle trophies, to get the trophy for kill all things in battle, requires that you fill out the battle log by killing one of everything. You better get to remedying that map chickenpox real good like. And so finding efficient ways to do that while on nightmare mode with very tanky trash was an interesting challenge of, oh, we might be screwed.
Oh,
We didn't think about this.
oh.
Or actually, I think
Well,
I did think about
this
this.
is this is why you don't use looper teams for exploration.
I will chuck the, hang on. The aggro, can I switch team? I have an idea.
Okay,
Yeah,
the north half of the continent is mostly tracked ones, so there are a number of untracked ones, but we'll just have to check manually.
I will get the dot girls out of 2 elements, and there will be no little elemental ball we can't kill. Guess you could switch to Chisa if you wanted to too with this team.
I need to land anyway because I think I've taken a wrong turn.
Yeah. So
if I bring up the map, I will just crash into something because it doesn't pause.
So yeah. The overall story is good. It's got some minor hiccups with its consistency through the whole way through. Particularly with Karja's dad. While he is a hoot and a half for most of the story, his motivations for his actions near the end are suspect and really needed a lot more screen time. But other than that, the rest of it's fine. I enjoyed the rest of it the whole way through, and don't really want to spoil it. As far as it being a good intro point for the game or for the series, yeah, it's really good for that. I would probably still recommend 8 over it, but it is still a really, really good starting point if you just want to get into the East series and see what it's about. Just make sure you pick up Proud Nordics and not Nordics without the Proud in front of it, because that's the original version, and you're missing out on a ton of extra content. So I would wait for a sale, though, on this one to see if it's your taste, because it is a whole lot of autistic exploring and map filling out and in.
Picard training.
Yeah, well, that's more Sasha's thing. It has become a trend in all the games since East 6, I think, that there is somebody somewhere in the game that just loves Picards. Picards are little gerbil, like mole rat looking things that are food usually.
It's a gerbil the size of a capybara.
Yeah. And they are incredibly adorable, but the entire world just treats them like food. Like, these things are meant to be eaten. But there's always somebody that just can't bring themselves to do it. And in this game, it's the little girl Sasha, and she is now training her Picard army at the end of the game. For what purpose, we don't know. The girl is 6 years old. But presumably she'll find some nefarious tomfoolery to get up to later. So yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed the game and just wanted to keep playing through it because it was just genuinely fun. Didn't feel forced to keep playing it anytime. One thing I did do that you do not have to do at all, but my tism wouldn't let me not do it, is try and get an S rank of every single fish. When you go fishing, you don't have to do that for 100% completion, and I recommend you don't do that because not only are there no guides whatsoever for telling you where to find specific fish right now, because they've all changed because they added more fish in this version. Their categories and what bait they prefer have also all been completely changed, and there is no guides or references for it anywhere in English. So you will not be able to find anything. So you have to note this stuff down and figure it out yourself. And there are a lot of fishing holes in this game for you to go experiment with. I wasted a solid 3.5 hours of my life mucking about trying to S rank the fishing log. Did get there in the end though, but definitely not worth it. What else? And that's really all I got for just generic stuff with with the with the game. The specifics of why I enjoyed the rest of the story, aside from the stuff around Carge's dad in the main story, uh, I don't really want to get into in case people decide to use it as a jumping in point, because it is really good for that if you just are really focused on jumping into the series with a game that has a modern game feel. So yeah. What else with it? I think that's all I got for going over East 10. Actually, there's I covered most of the rest of the system nuances and stuff last week, and there ain't that much expansion on them. It just is more and bigger of what we already had. What you start the game with. So so yeah, there's that. I'll be going through East 7 next as the next game, mostly because I'm already halfway done with it. It got put on pause when East 10 came out, but and I got to a point in the main story of that game where they reset your fast travel points and you have to go get them all again.
No joy.
Fantastic.
So I figured that was a good point to stop and take a break.
That's just annoying. Unless the world changes significantly, that's just annoying.
Oh, I mean, it does, and there are now high-level enemies everywhere. But yeah, all the guides marked a particular point in the story as finish all the side quests before this point, and you're golden. You won't miss anything. So that's all I cared about. Oh, the one thing I did use that I was thankfully was right for missables in East 10 is just a couple of quests have earlier than end of the game deadlines. I think it's like 6 out of the 41 quests you need to finish before before certain deadlines. But as long as you're doing every quest as it pops up, that shouldn't be a problem. Just look for green markers on the map every time you hit a major story checkpoint, and just be sure to talk to everybody on the boat. Literally anytime their icons turn blue. And you should be golden for people notes. There is 1 or 2 of them that are a little obtuse, and when you have to go back to the boat and talk to them. But and I think those are the only ones that warned you as even slightly missable. So if you just check the missables, you'll only have to tab into it like at the end of chapter 6 and the end of chapter 5. I think are the 2 times when you need to check it. There might be one at the end of chapter 7 as well. The rest are all just do all the quests, and you should do them as they pop up. So it's relatively easy to keep tracking 100% without having to go guide mode. So the only other thing regarding 100%ing the game, because a lot of the East games are just going around and exploring and doing adventure stuff. There is a new type of enemy called a mutant that can spawn on the islands. And these are just standard enemies with a modifier after their name that are stronger. And there are 5 of 6 different species. They'll have 6 levels of mutant or 5 levels of mutant for 6 different species. So there'll be 30 new enemies that count in the log, excluding all the new ones on the island, which you'll get naturally by going through the island. So I think there's around 70 new enemy types total, but only 30 of them are scattered about the other main islands and actually require you to hunt for them. But yeah. So maybe there'll be some guides out that'll help you checklist easier if you decide to 100% it later down the line. But as of right now, there are none. And the community seems very up in arms about this, because I get why. I'm sympathetic to people that bought the game on day one when the original came out, and then 2 weeks later they announced Proud Nordics is coming out in a year with a whole bunch of new content, and you just kind of got screwed. And now Nisa not helping things by offering no upgrade path for people to the new one until after all the launch bonuses for Proud Nordics expires as a deliberate money grub, is definitely not helping things. But just know that the current reviews are all reactions to that from people that already own the game and not the game on its own merits. I mean, Nisa's gonna Nisa. There's not a whole lot you can do about that.
It is what they do.
Yeah. I would still rather have
Yeah.
them. I'll get ripped off by Nisa before I'll let Gung Ho do whatever the heck it did to Sky First Chapter. So yeah, just keep that in mind when you go look at the reviews. There's a reason they're mixed, and not a single one of them has to do with the actual quality of the game. So yeah, I put it third on my list right now. I think of the order of my favorite East games, which the top three right now are Oath and Felghana at 1, which is East 3, and then Lacrimosa Adana, which is East 8, and then this one, Proud Nordics, which is East 10. So it's good. It's one of the better. They've definitely learned a lot. The only thing I hope they do in future is find a way to make that difficulty stick the whole way through without just turning the trash into tanky hit sponges. I really hope they'll eventually figure that out one day. They figured it out in at the end of the Ark and Epistom games. Maybe when they take this combat system to its conclusion, we'll get a game that's able to really push that challenge up for the higher difficulties and keep it consistent the whole way through without me needing to not eat the lunch boxes. So there's that. Yeah. Don't have anything else to really talk about with it. So that's the end of my solo section, and that comprised the entirety of my week. Was going through East 10. Because instead of doom scrolling on Twitter, I play Vidya, play single player Vidya. It's much better, much happier. I get to be on a boat instead of watching, the forever scroll of everything is terrible forever, and here's why.
And it has Dogi.
It does have
the Wall
Dogi.
Crusher.
Oh, I do have a picture. Hang on, I made one. Yeah, I gotta pull it out. I think I sent it to Vol. Because every time Dogi does the Dogi thing, I gotta. Nope, that's the drunk guy in the Picard pen. Okay, it's 3 pictures. I'll paste them over into live show chat. Because it's just not an East game with Dogi unless Dogi gets to break a wall. So there you go. All right. So Vol didn't have any particular curiosity about it last week. Do you have anything specific about the East series or East 10 that you wanted to know, Fern? Because I'm coming to the end of it, and I'm now at the end.
Not really. It's one of those series that's I want to get to and do one day, but it is kind of freaking long now.
Well, that's the thing with East. That doesn't matter because each game is its own story. Yeah, it's Adel on another adventure somewhere in not Europe. But
Europe.
That game's story is entirely self-contained. At the end of it, Adel will not remain where he's at and will go wander off into the sunset to sate his addiction to adventure.
And to leaving a trail of disappointed women behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like each game is its own totally self-contained story, so you can start wherever the heck you want. The games are not releasing.
It's not like Tales.
Trails
rather.
Yeah, it's not like the Trail series. Falcom's other series is the one with the long-running continuous narrative. This one is 120%. Each game is its own thing. Like they literally release.
You say they're like historical artifacts, basically.
Yeah, each game is set at a different point in the timeline because it's just whatever journal of Adel's got found is the story of a game. That's the framing device. Is each Adel wrote down all of his adventures in journals as he did them, and each time a new one is discovered, it gets turned into the game that we play through, and it's framed around reading the journal of this famous explorer adventurer Adel Kristen.
Right.
So
we don't know what happened to him in the end. Do you think we will ever know?
records disappear from him when he turns 65, and we don't know if he died or if he
Ascended to godhood.
wandered off into the sunset to go adventure somewhere in space. Who knows?
If it follows the arc of JRPGs, he's gone to the moon.
Yeah, and
No,
the
he went back in time and is having more adventures in the past. It's just that he
He already-
can't leave records as easily because the archaeology's already happened.
well, he already did that. He did that in Ys 8.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
and then he came back and he brought the records back to current time because he gets to
Because why not?
because he gets to experience Donna adventuring through her eyes in the past. So he can get his fix of adventuring in the time before he was born, when dinosaurs still were around. East 8 story is really
For another adventure.
East 8 story is really wacky, but it is the best starting point, and I love it. I love the dumb time travel plotline. It's so
Is that
good.
the one that has the big hole?
Yeah, that's the one with Archaeozoic big hole.
Right.
So
yeah. Unlike the Trials games, I don't think the East games cost as much, do they?
no, and
Oh wait, never mind. Proud Nordics does.
yeah, well, Proud Nordics came out a week ago. Well, a week and a half
Yeah.
ago. Took
But
me a week,
East 8s, I'm seeing at $55 dues.
and they go on sale all the flipping time whenever Nisa has a sale.
Yeah. East 10 is at $90 dues. East vs Trials. That's going to be a lot of characters.
Well, East vs Trails is a non-canon fighting game spin-off done in the Arkham Napishtim engine.
Yep.
It's a weird one. I have it. It's very odd, and it also all the characters are from East 7.
Right.
So it's the one I haven't finished. So yeah, there's that. Also, don't get East 10. Get East 10 Proud Nordics, because otherwise you're cutting a whole lot of content out if you do get East 10.
I think East 10 is just listed as East 10, or is it East 10 Nordics?
It's East 10
East 10
Nordics. Yeah, there's East 10 Nordics, and then but you want Proud Nordics. That's the one with all the 15 hours.
Version.
Yeah, the extra content. It's a goodly chunk of extra content. Even if they do give them
subject to hardware limitations.
Yeah, even if it does love to give the map chicken pox. But yeah, any of the ones before 8 are also going to be just super dirt cheap all the time, and they're all until 8. They're all relatively short. Well, before 7. The only quirk with telling people they can start with the earlier ones is number 1, Oath and Felghana is the hardest game in the franchise, and it's not even close. Like, the game on hard took me to the cleaners. Like, I had to drop it down to hard from Nightmare because I got too big for my britches.
Which isn't even the highest difficulty level.
No, and Nightmare's not the highest. That's Inferno. Like that, you're just gonna get your butt whooped on if you start with that one. So know that going into it and be ready to play on easy if you're just looking to experience the story or just go through the game. But the other things of note are for Oath and Felghana, Ark and Napishtim, and Origins. They were not ported by Durante. They were ported by Xseed in the very early days of PSP to PC ports. And it has a launcher that you have to rebind the controls through because the default controls are not very good.
Oh no.
And the confirm and attack button are always the same, and the jump and cancel button are always the same. So good luck finding a comfortable control scheme, but when you do, they are a lot of fun. What I did was I just found jump/cancel to both circle and X. So if I accidentally went into a menu, I would I muscle memoried pressing X to confirm. It would just close the window. I'm like, oh, okay, and just put attack on square instead, and that made it way more comfortable. And I just threw the rest of the controls wherever I wanted. Steam input can help a lot with that.
Mm-hmm. When it decides to. Steam input can be temperamental.
Yeah, with a DualSense, it worked fine, and was able to intercept the controls and rebind them. For Origin, back when Steam Input was still more temperamental, because I played that one way earlier. I actually just bound controller buttons to keyboard controls, to the keyboard hotkeys, and
Yeah.
just took a screenshot of the keys from the launcher and got that to work.
Oh, that's yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and if you're gonna start at the very beginning with East 1 and 2, just go
I
look
think
up the
I've
guy.
got East 1 and 2
Probably they're like $4 all the time.
all the time.
Yeah, and that's because they are direct ports of the PC 88 Bump Combat games. So I generally don't recommend East 1 and 2 until you've at least done your first East game to get into the franchise. They'll give a whole lot
They
of
have not particularly aged well.
I mean, they're fine. They're just
They're fine,
they're,
but
they for the time they were really good RPGs, action RPGs. But the problem is the action is bump combat.
yeah.
Fern, do you know what I mean when I say bump combat?
You better explain it.
I better get a GIF.
There's not really anything to
It's-
explain.
This is gonna.
Everything can be solved with a GIF.
Yeah. I'm positive I sent one to Ibu when I was trying to get his attention before. Okay, I did. Mark that as a favorite.
I'm sure that there's Scarlet Thorn at Black Shores, but none of the interactive maps have any tracked, so I'll just do a bit of a float around and see.
Okay, Fern. In live show chat, I posted a GIF.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
That's bump combat.
That's bump combat.
Basically,
Bump into things.
what you have to do, you have to walk into an enemy to do damage to them off center.
Oh, it has to be off center too.
If you are centered with the enemy and you touch them, and they will try to center themselves with you, you will take damage. That's the enemy hitting you. So if you hit them off center, you do damage to them. And also, hope you got a way to lock your frame rate and your refresh rate on your GPU, because if you don't, East 1's boss is almost impossible. Because his attack rate is tied to the frame rate. And his attack destroys the amount of floor you have to work with every time it fires.
At least frame rate is lockable. I mean, back in the day, they used to tie game timing directly to the CPU clock.
Yeah, I remember there were some PCs that I knew existed. I never saw one that had it was called a turbo button. And what it would actually do...
They usually weren't connected to anything. They turned the LED on and off.
Yeah.
Or they maybe changed the number on the panel, which was completely arbitrary.
Yeah, what the turbo button was supposed to do was actually slow your computer down to play old school games that were stuck at running on either the CPU clock or whatever arbitrary component they were tied to.
Yeah, but usually it just did nothing.
Yeah, so East 3 is going to kick your butt. East 1 and 2 are old and really best experience after you've already picked an East game to get started with. 8 is a great starting point. 10 is a great starting point. 9 is a pretty good starting point. Although 9 is the last one in the timeline, so
It seems like it's just more useful to say which ones to avoid, because you're saying virtually everyone is a good starting point.
Don't start with 6. 6 is a really bad one that requires you to know what the heck is going on with the stuff in 1 and 2. Same with Origins. Origins explicitly will have no impact for you if you don't play 1 and 2. So don't start with that one. Memories of Celceta, you could start with this one, but it's not a great starting point. That's 4. 5 isn't localized. And 7, I'm going to tentatively say, is probably not a good starting point either. Not because of any story-related reasons or stuff, but just because 7 so far has been weird. It's the first game that used the party system, and it shows. It's got some quirks that are a little tough to put up with. But yeah, so definitely start with 8, 9, or 10 probably. then go back, do 1 and 2 just to get yourself some context. Play through Origins after that, and then you're off to play whatever one you want. Really, just whichever one looks good to you, and they're not it's not mandatory you play any of them. As far as interconnectivity between the other games and what's important, I would recommend playing 8 before 9, because 9 does call back a little bit for some of the cameo scenes later to 8. Like,
Right.
but it's not a big deal if you just really like the idea of running around Balduke as a bunch of monsters instead of exploring the dinosaur island. But I do recommend starting with the dinosaur island.
I mean, it's a dinosaur island. Yes, you start there.
Yeah. And it has the time travel wackiness. And they actually do time travel wackiness and make it fun in 8. So 8's still my number 1 recommended starting point. 10 is probably the second best starting point after 8. So that's it for East for now. I don't know if I'll be able to get through East 7 this week. It will depend a lot on how motivated I am to keep going with it, because they just took away all my teleport points, and I might decide to get caught up on some of the gachas instead. I want to do the current main story in Genshin before I consider putting it on break for a while, and just get it caught up with all the story stuff I haven't done yet in that game. And
Well, I've got news for you.
oh boy,
I don't like that tone.
yeah. So there's that. ZZZ's got its new story coming out. I definitely want to do that. And Wuwa has a story that just came out, Luke's story, and I have not done that. And Star Rail still sitting there with me, humming and hawing about when I want to eventually go poke at it. So, speaking of all the gachas, Paul, tag.
Right. Well, I'm wondering where shall I start? The one that's got the least activity attached to it, I would say, is probably Star Rail at the moment. I I am still cleaning up all kinds of bits and pieces and little quests here and there and so on and so forth. There's still a lot of content that I haven't addressed. I haven't done most of the puzzles, like the little puzzles that are floating around the place and that. And they've just buried a lot of stuff in there. Like there's a lot of stuff to encounter. If you like to consume these games the way I do, where you just sort of mingle with the NPCs and see what they're up to and talk to everybody and that sort of thing, then there's a lot in 4.0. So even though there's no like particular things happening, I haven't been especially bored because there's lots of little things. So one thing I've noticed is that and this is, I suppose, fitting in its own way, the tone of 4.0 is very flippant, but the actual content is actually very dark. Like most of the side quests are kind of twisted in some way. Like they are superficially just like, lol, how random. But the implications of basically everything are quite terrifying. They're all quite horrible or tragic in some way. Like the whole elation shtick just isn't what it cracked up to be. And the overriding message seems to be people aren't meant to live like this. Like that, even though generally speaking, Aha is portrayed relatively positively throughout the rest of the game, the overarching message from, like, if you like take all of the quests together in 4.0 is people can't be elation. Elation is not a way that you can live in reality. It's going to tear you to pieces.
Well, this seems
Because
to be
people aren't supposed to go around chasing the next high all the time.
this seems to be a through line for a lot of the Aeons, where focusing exclusively on what they offer to the detriment of absolutely everything else is a bad idea. Bad for
Yeah,
you.
well, I mean, that's something that they sort of allude to really, really early on, is that basically power and freedom are inversely proportional to each other in Star Rail. The Aeons are the most powerful creatures in existence, but as a result of their power, they are completely constrained to their path. They can't do anything that deviates from their prime directive at all. They've got infinite power so long as they're acting with it, but they have no power to act against it whatsoever. They are basically slaves to their own nature. And the same applies to others down the power scale. Like a unaffiliated human can do whatever they want. A path strider, their ability to tap into the path's power is going to be determined by how in synchrony with their path they are. And an emanator is basically at the bidding of their aeon, more or less. They can rebel against that nature, but they will feel a very, very strong pull to walk in step with that nature. And their powers are all tied to their walking in step with that nature. So yeah, that seems to be what they're going for there. I mean, it could just be me drawing connections that don't exist, but it would make sense rather relative to what we have seen elsewhere so far. In that there's, you know, every single one of the aeons is pathological, and the introduction at the sort of the very end of the last patch was that, well, actually the grand enemy who's ruining the cosmos is the Harmony, which everybody had assumed was basically like a good guy Aeon of some kind. But that whole concept is sort of like gradually being clarified to be a nonsense. But yeah, there's still lots of little bits and pieces going around and floating around in there to play with, and there's a lot of toilet humor, literally.
Really?
Um,
They go with the toilet jokes.
yeah, like literally, when I say toilet humor, I mean jokes about toilets.
I suppose it's a change from jokes about trash cans.
But I mean, that's also tied into the whole elation thing. Like basically, there's a big sort of there's a couple of big like shrines in the masked fool's base, and one of them is a giant disco ball, and the other one is a giant golden toilet. But there's also this sort of like unmarked subquest. Not, well, it's not quite unmarked, but it's not one of the tracked ones that will be on the index of quests for the patch. You just have to run into it, which is all themed around the golden throne
Of course.
being a golden toilet, but also it is a 40k reference.
Yes.
And
I mean, if you're going to make Golden Throne jokes, you kind of have to.
yeah, I didn't I didn't think that 40k had much traction in Japan, because it's, you know, it was fundamentally a British property, but either the localizers have decided to adapt it in such a way that it becomes a 40k themed quest, or they really did decide to go a little bit off the beaten track with their references and head for 40k instead. It's a very short quest, but it's very strange. A lot of things in Planicadia are very strange. Yeah, so I still haven't managed to have any success farming artifacts in that one, but I'm gonna have to dedicate some more time to it, because Sparksy will be out soon, and then I will have to start putting that team to work. Unfortunately, the RNG has not been kind to me. Yeah, I think we're going to be headed back to the crafting bench for this one. I'm glad that I've been saving resources, but yeah, we'll leave that one as it may. ZZZ had its dead week. Literally nothing happened of any note whatsoever. I haven't attempted Deadly Assault this week, and I am absolutely not looking forward to it, because the boss is, what's her name? The robot. And I hate that boss to begin with. But worse than that, it is the most chill boss in the game, and it's not close.
Yeah.
Like you need to have Ether Anomaly supported by Ether Veil, and there's like that basically means you must have Arya or or Vivian, and you must have Sinner. Otherwise, you're just pushing a rock uphill.
Yeah, I was I did I had the Vivian part of that, but I had to do a hard restart,
I
not
don't.
for failing the purple, but for just not getting enough points with the Jane Vivian Yuzaha shell that I was running. I had a that's not good enough. Try that again.
So I don't have anybody who's applicable to this fight except for Yuzuha and Alice. So it's going to be difficult because Bernice is banned, Miyabi is banned functionally, which are like the standards. Now this is basically what happens when you release a character that is needlessly too powerful writ large. In that pretty much every boss has been anti-Miyabi that's come out in the past, like major version. They're just trying to counter Shill Miyabi, but because a lot of people have been depending on her, it just forces them back into the position where they've got to pull again in a very cynical way. So yeah, I don't know why they've decided to counter Shill Fire, because Fire is sort of it was like their solution that they tried to get people to use, um, by freeing up the ability to get Bernice with a pick on the spending event and making her W engine available, but now they've just basically hedged her out of yet another game mode because they keep counter shilling Fire. Like pretty much outside Shield defense, you can't use Fire for anything. It's really becoming annoying.
I wonder.
But
We do feel a little overdue for some. Well, we had some fire shilling, but it was for the some of the attack bosses back when Orphe was a thing. I think a couple of them were
yeah, well,
fire
the
there.
thing is that they, rather than shilling, though, in that case, they counter shill as well. Like a lot of the time, they'll say something like takes 30% less damage from anomaly effects or whatever.
Yeah,
But that's completely unnecessary. That's just trying to prevent you from using other characters, and you've already got so many other shilling mechanisms. Why you actually make it so that you have to work at a disadvantage if it just so happens that that's what you've got in the toolbox.
yeah. I don't like this trend with Hoyo games. All of them do it to some degree, where they
No, only ZZZ says you can't use this character. The others will pro shill characters, but only ZZZ is like, no, you can't use this one. We're going to debuff your character so that you can't pick it. That is the single worst thing in ZZZ, is that they counter shill characters by debuffing them so you can't use them.
yeah. Well, I was thinking more with Genshin and like the cryo boss and the cactus.
Yeah, well, they're trying to force you to use particular elements or reactions, and that's bad. But they aren't actually telling they aren't actually like messaging you don't attempt to use this other character, even though it falls squarely within the obvious requirements. You shouldn't even bother to attempt it. We're just going to reduce your numbers to the point that it's irrelevant, because there are heaps of people who do clear cactus using other combos than the most recent ones. I have managed to struggle my way through to it before, but it's just not worth the strain of doing so, because it's harder. And the cryo one, I've seen people clear it with Charlotte. It's not impossible. It's just really stupid. And the main problem with that, though, is that most people don't have a freeze team, because freeze has been bad for the longest time. It's not that. It's not that. We're going to debuff all of the other characters we released in Cryo to make sure they can't do it while buffing the one that can. That's not what they're doing, but that is what ZZZ is doing. ZZZ is saying, this enemy is weak to fire, and we know you've got these fire characters, but we're going to debuff them to make sure you can't use your old fire characters and you need to use new fire characters.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
really, really cynical.
I don't like exclusionary uh stuff on bosses in general. Like if you already have a boss that favors having a particular type, there's no need to make it so that other characters on your roster just can't participate. You,
Yeah, if
you,
it's like pro rupture or something, it's like, well, I mean, okay, now I know I need to use rupture and that there's going to be a defensive phase, so I have to play around a defensive phase if I want to use non-rupture characters. Okay. What I don't need is, oh, by the way, anomaly might be able to do this, but to ensure that it can't, we're going to debuff all the anomaly characters.
yeah,
I mean, when Wandering Hunter came out, I used anomaly to do that, even though all the buffs are for rupture,
yeah,
because my rupture team was busy with something else, and it was way harder than using the rupture team. I can get 37k without too much effort using the rupture team off element, but I still was able to do it with anomaly by trying hard enough.
yeah. I think also Vesper in particular is a real rough boss to do that on because Vesper. I don't find her purple attack that big a deal, but
Well,
purple
that's
attack
but
is
you don't, because you're a Souls player, because she uses Souls timing instead of ZZZ timing for her attacks, which is the reason why so many people are upset with it. Like, it's not just me. The lion's share of people who don't play Souls games are annoyed at it because the attack time is completely different from a ZZZ boss.
well. The point I'm getting at with Vesper is the reason it's mean with Vesper is because aside from the purple attack, the rest of her kit is just way faster and harder than most of the other bosses in the game. Like I cannot think of another character that has as relentless of an onslaught between her off signature phases that you have to keep
I
up with
actually
and
really
still do
like the
damage.
pace of the fight. I like the pace of the fight generally. I just don't like the purple attack, because the purple attack is like, it requires you to change to a totally different gear than you used to play ZZZ for, because ZZZ is calibrated around reacting to attacks, whereas her purple thing is calibrated around just knowing the pattern and using it before she attacks.
It,
Because if her animation has started, it's already too late to dodge.
I didn't
You have
think.
to dodge during the wind up. You can't dodge after the attack's launched.
Yeah,
I've seen people do frame and like, check this by frame. This is just the way it is.
I didn't think Souls when I saw it. What I actually thought of, it makes sense now that you say it, but what I thought about was actually Hi-Fi Rush.
I've seen actually people say that as well. I've seen people say that as well. But if you look at the pattern of people who say this boss is gay and feels wrong, um, those people don't play Souls. And if you look at the people saying it's easy, get good, they're all Souls players,
You know,
because they've already got a gear for dealing with that. Whereas if you just play ZZZ for your action fix, then you are calibrated to look for something totally different, which is to dodge dodge or counter when the attack is launched, not when the wind up finishes.
yeah, it switches you from reaction based to cadence based responses, and
But the
the
thing is that the entire rest of the fight is just like any other ZZZ fight, just like maybe a fraction faster.
yeah, that's it's it's mean to put any kind of hard exclusionary restrictions on a boss like Vesper because people are going to be better served playing characters they know best on Vesper because the rest of the fight is so fast. Having to be forced into a team that you may or may not use regularly with her is just exceptionally mean.
Like, I mean, I could beat her with my rupture team, I'm sure, but I need that rupture team, because the rupture team solves all of the problems that I don't have the right team for. And I think that this is, like, they are moving back in the direction that they were when Deadly Assault came out, before most non-spenders had a decent stable of characters to work with. And so they released a certain number of bosses that you needed to have simultaneous teams for, and it's just too hard for a lot of people, including myself, to form competent teams to deal with all of this stuff with the account development they had available. Now, by fencing off certain combinations in ZZZ, by having ultra specific shill required, you're ending up in a situation where you're just pushing people back to having nothing in the toolbox that can deal with it. Because if I could put my rupture team there, well, sure, then that's fine. But then if you deploy anything else, like if you deploy Wandering Hunter alongside it, well, then that's saying you basically can't solve this problem with rupture unless you have two rupture teams, unless you can, like, field Yadari or a Manato team against Wandering Hunter. to move your rupture team to off rupture. Like it's not they've just put they're increasing the specificity required for each one, and despite the fact that they were shilling attack in the sort of like the early middle of the 2.x series, it seems like they've forgotten about attack again because we're still just back to the same old bosses for attack. It's just always the same one. It's always Isolde.
Yeah, they have a lot of bosses now that could make use of attack, but their favorite seems to be Isolde. I mean,
But
they
I
do like
don't.
Sambi.
I mean, they very much want Sanbi to be a thing. She is the cover girl for the game. Remember,
Yeah,
uh, so they're gonna want her to gonna want her to be prominent. But I don't know. Maybe when Sissia comes out, since she's launching a new attack based archetype, they will start putting more focus on attack. And I can't help but wonder if the reason they made Sissia electric was so that Sanbi would be usable again. And I'm terrified that they're going to try and think of a way to counter shill standard electric attack, because most electric teams are like uh support trigger Sanbi or trigger Sanbi seed or trigger Sanbi Orphe or one like that. I'm not sure what they're going to do to counter shill that team, because they've tried to push that as like the standard attack approach for quite a while now. With the only other attack team that exists is Yeshunguang, and Yeshunguang is more of the Yeshunguang team than it is the attack team.
yeah. You can. She is currently in Miyabi's favorite position as or former position of being the clobber stick you can use to beat up one of the deadly assault nodes, and
Yeah, I mean,
it will die.
I've got a sinking feeling that I'm going to have to use her against Vesper, and I don't want to, because I don't really like that team. Like, I don't like the way Yoshungang plays compared to the characters that I favor playing actively. Like, I would prefer to play Alice. I would prefer to play Yishun. I prefer to play Sanbi. I can play Yoshunguang, and I have her for the same reason that you pull Archons in Genshin. But I don't particularly have any fondness for how she plays. She's just serviceable.
Yeah,
I feel like there's too many weird things built into her kit that I don't like. Like, I actually don't like auto dodging. It bothers me
yeah. I don't.
because it's like you're muscle memory training yourself to do this thing, and now it's sort of counterproductive to do it. You're supposed to do something else instead.
Yeah, the auto parrying in her kit feels like one of the things that makes it a step too far. Like that's one of the things they could have cut to make her more reasonable. Because then you would actually have to, think about what you're doing while you're spamming your attacks out. But she auto parries.
I mean, if it had like a 15-second cooldown on it or something, then that would be fine.
Yeah,
They give you one freebie. Okay.
yeah. That if yeah, like every time you go into that stance, you get like one or two charges or something that you can auto parry with. That would be more reasonable. But auto parry everything? Silly.
Yeah, I think I don't really agree with this approach to like the premium characters. Like, I don't think that they should have everything just sort of laid out on a platter for you. I would prefer a model where they had basically an easy to play layer and then a really high ceiling behind a skill based layer, which is the way Yishin is constructed and why everybody hates Yishin
Yeah,
compared to Miyabi, because there is heaps and heaps of tech you can learn if you want to for Yishin. I haven't bothered, but it's actually a really good character for introduction to sort of like higher level tech for operating ZZZ.
yeah. I
So you can operate it in a relatively straightforward fashion, or you can learn all the tech and get 65,000 on Deadly Assault with her.
I had a thought while playing while using Ishin on the last not Ishin, Big Wopo, what's her name? Brain farting.
Yeah, Xinguang.
Yeah. While using Big Wopo on the latest Deadly Assault is I actually like the Suna version of the team and how it plays. but it's softened by the fact that the auto parry's there. Like the auto parry existing makes me not want to play that team unless it's just to get one of the bosses out of the way. But the base kit is fine with Suna on the team and feels like it runs really well. That's a relatively fun team to play. It's just the auto parry makes it feel like it's a step too far, and all of a sudden it goes from a big highlight moment of getting your resources dumped and getting Big Wopo into the super mode. Instead of that being a payoff moment for managing your resources well and handling the rest of the fight good, it's just overpowered auto win button. Like the thinking stops when you hit that button instead of it being the point where big stuff's going to happen. Now you got to pay attention and make sure you optimize what you're doing. No. Now she's in that mode. She's going to auto parry everything. So all you got to do is mash the combo out.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do for that fight because I don't have a fit. I don't have a fit for it. Like the only thing that I really have that I can try is to relearn Grace and then put her in as a secondary to Alice and then try and run standard anomaly with Yuzuha. I just don't have anything else.
Yeah.
And it's really not a good fit for that fight. Like I have way too many disadvantages and no advantages. Like single weakness bosses are not a fan. Really not a fan.
Especially Ether single week. All the other single element week, at least there's a relatively okay chunk of characters players could potentially have. Ether is bad to have as a single week element because we have.
And it always has been too. Like this is this has just been a perennial issue.
Because Arya's not out yet. She doesn't come out for a few days. And with her not out, the only frontliner we've got that can do ether damage is Zoo, and Zoo's counter shield on this one because she's attacked.
Well, there's also auric ink damage, but since they've made rupture a weakness in addition to element, your auric ink character, that is to say Yishan, is always going to be occupied with the rupture stage.
Yeah.
The only exception being is if you have two rupture teams, one for Yadari and one for Yishan. I don't think many people are that wealthy.
Yeah, like if it's mono fizz week, you got options. You got Dodge Rat, you got Alice, you got Nekomata, if you're insane.
You've got Yeshen Guang, you've got those people who play Billy for everything.
Yeah, if you go fire, you got Evelyn, you got your Bernice ain't a frontliner, but you got her. Like you got Orphe and Fufu that exist to help supplement the damage. Who else is a fire? You got Minato for your 4 stars if you want to go to the
Soldier
Rupture
11's
route.
been buffed.
Yeah, Soldier 11. Lots of options for fire. Electric, you have options for days. They love electric.
They're releasing another one next patch.
Yeah.
Who's a complete girl failure, and I don't understand why people adore her so much. Like, I understand being entertained by the situation she creates as a character, but intrinsically, she's a bad person.
Yes. And what's our other element? Ice. Ice, you got Miyabi, Ellen got buffed. You got Lycaon and Hugo, Yadari. Like all those have options. Ether, you've got Zoo. Vivian is a sub DPS and will never ever not be a sub DPS. There is no main DPS Vivian build. It is impossible.
Twice I have pulled for Vivian, and twice I've had the chance to pull for Vivian, and neither time did I manage to get her. I'm very frustrated.
Yeah.
By the time I finally pull Vivian, she's probably going to be terrible.
Like, I still run her on variants of the Jane team, just because she's the easy route. If I just need to get through something and want to use Jane to body it, because Vivian was the first real hit it and forget it character for a sub DPS.
Kit has got so much text.
It does, and there's a whole lot of fun tech you can do with her if you really want to get into the weeds of it. But if you just want to get the boss dead, Vivian is a hit it and forget it character. The only thing you have to know is when to press the switch button.
But yeah, I don't have that option. I don't have like other than Yushin, I don't have any character that can deal ether damage up front. Like the options that I have available are just horribly, horribly limited. And since they hedged out Miyabi and Bernice, like what have I got left? I've just got Alice
Just
and Grace, I guess. But Grace is like, even after Grace's buff, she doesn't perform very well, is what most people say. Like, if you've got any other option, pick that other option instead.
yeah, like your rabbit, your symmetry rabbit, and your what's your grace set? M3, M4.
I know I don't think she ever got that high. I'm not like you. I don't pull early ever. So
So
she's probably still only like M2 or something, maybe even less. I don't know. But yeah, that she's not good enough to make up the power gap. So it's looking more and more like it's going to be another case of, well, let's hope that Ye Guang can deal with it. The problem is that damage contribution from the whatchamacallit, the rabbit, is going to be even lower than normal as a result of the counter ice and I don't have enough supports to run the NB team for the Isolde boss uh alongside the Yeshinguang attack team because they fight over Astra, and I can't substitute Lucy because she's not powerful enough to do the job, and Fire's being counter shielded on that side. So they've basically managed to box people into needing to have an extra support and an ether damage dealer with that boss. Now, I wouldn't care if this was just one time, but it's not going to be one time. This
yeah,
boss is going to come back over and over and over and over again. So now I'm feeling like I'm being cynically compelled to reconsider team compositions in order to simply facilitate being able to do this boss each week.
yeah. I do wonder if they're really pushing Arya hard with this boss because it, the real problem is the mono ether weakness.
If I had a good reason to believe that there were other ether characters coming down the line that I wanted to pull, then maybe I wouldn't care so much. But they seem to be betting the farm on this one.
Yeah,
Like Nangong will be ether, we know that much, but that's not going to be enough to make the difference.
yeah,
Like
but
if I
still,
want to use Nangong, I still have to pull Sinner because those two work together.
you want when you're making a boss's weakness, you want the characters that's mostly important to are whoever's on the front line. Like you want the character that's going to be out doing the most damage to be one that matches the weakness. And the problem is when Arya comes out, we will have two ether characters that are frontline main damage dealer
Well,
ether characters.
and Yishin. It's a gold colored, but it's still ether.
I keep
But
forgetting she's ether because it's gold.
But like I said, because they made Rupture functionally a weakness in Deadly Assault, she's going to be playing the Rupture stage. And even if and it doesn't really matter what element the Rupture stage is. Like if you've got Yadari, then you're going to be using her in place for Wandering Hunter as opposed to Miasma Priest. But if you are using the Rupture team for Yadari, then Yishin's basically not going to be in a team. Like, you're not going to be using Yadari that week. I mean, you're not going to be able to use Yishin that week because she needs Rupture support from Lucia, and Lucia's not going to be available. So,
You got the panda.
yeah, it's true. You've got the panda, and you need to find another stunner then.
You got Fufu's on the other team. Uh, I mean, you could do it the dumb way. Just run that team without a stunner. That
I
would
mean,
not.
you could. Well, you can kind of get away with it with Rupture. You can run it stun free, but then you need another support. But your supports are all spoken for as well in this case.
You got Nicole.
You
No,
do always have Nicole. However,
I don't.
Nicole has the highest skill ceiling of any support in the game, and it's not close.
Actually, I think Nicole ain't so hot with Rupture because of the way her shred works.
Yeah, because she's mainly contributing defense shred, so it's not going to be that great. It does contribute something, but not very much at all. Because defense shred is better than penetrate for rupture, but it's sort of like comparing whether you want to die of like cholera or tuberculosis. So it's basically this boss really boxes me in badly. Yeah, I'm not at the position where I want to be in RSL and pull everyone, but it's looking more and more like pulling Sinner and Nangong is necessary in order to create another shell. But I don't know how well that will work, because that will have to be as I'm not intending to pull for Arya, and indeed if I pull Nangong and Sinner somehow, I'm still going to be short uh short for Arya, so I wouldn't be able to pull Arya even if I wanted to. But the question is, can they operate as a shell for Alice? Because Alice is a reasonably strong on-field anomaly who uses normal anomaly stats. The question's always a bit up in the air when it comes to Miyabi, because Miyabi's interaction with anomaly stats is atypical.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of hemming and hawing when people try and work out whether or not to use Yuzuha with Miyabi. It's like the main reason to use Yuzuha with Miyabi is not to buff Miyabi, it's to provide a better flow of disorder when you don't have a polarity disorder character in the team. It's like you can use Yuzuha to turn Bernice into a much better resource generator for Miyabi than she would be naturally. But that's basically the question. But Alice has normal interactions. The question is, when she's a solo on field with stun support from Nangong, who is getting nerfed apparently in the next CBT, because apparently her numbers just got out of hand. Like on the creator server, as it is without Nangong, people are saying that Arya's numbers are already busted, like absolutely disgusting. If you add Nangong's imps into that are calibrated specifically for use with Arya, then if Nangong comes out too good, then it's going to completely break the game, because they'll have to raise HP again.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff up in the air, but I don't have very long to make the decision, because I would need to pull Sinner in like the next couple days if I decide to pull Sinner. As far as pulling character is concerned, I like Sinner well enough. I like the Osaka accent characters generally. I think it's a very cute accent when a girl uses it. It's not cute at all when a male uses it. But the that's quite a commitment of resources. But like, as much as I like Yishun and I would like to go vertical on her, like verticality seems to be being aggressively counter-signaled by ZZZ. It just doesn't seem to pay off at all.
Yeah, I think the game in general, its structure everywhere pretty much, aside from Battle Tower, it's like the only place where verticality matters. The rest of it's all just go wide.
Yeah, so, but I don't know. I have to look into see if like are there good free options for W engines with Sinner, because I won't be able to afford to pull for that.
I think I shoved arenas on her.
I don't use Arena that much. I could probably do that. I've got 2 Weeping Cradles as it is. I just haven't powered one of them up. But yeah, I'll have to think about it. Like, normally I like, well, if I like a character, I'm going to go for the signature usually. But at this point, it's devolving into a resource management game instead of a pull for characters I like game, and that's sort of, it's one of those things that pushes a gacha towards I don't really care that much. I mean, you know the feeling, right? Because you
Yeah.
sort of ended up there a few times with Star Rail.
Mm-hmm.
Because before I was perfectly happy with not pulling that many characters in ZZZ, because you could make up for it with a reasonable amount of practice. But now, with the increasing narrowness of the shell, it's more and more like you have to be a sweat lord to make up for it.
Yeah, it's getting, we crested the point I knew we would hit eventually, where the health bar has just eventually got to a point where the older units are now going to be fighting an uphill battle, and off element teams are going to be fighting an uphill battle to make up the difference with raw gameplay.
Yeah, it's I'm not that happy about the Vesper boss. It's just distorting my pull decisions quite a bit. I mean, the thing is that the Suna Nangong shell for Alice is going to be sort of mutually exclusive from like the Yuzuha Bernice shell for Alice. Like that other shell can't be really used for much of anything other than maybe Miyabi in a pinch. Although it's a sort of an atypical, not ideal shell for Miyabi, but it does work. I've managed to use it for Deadly Assault in the past with barely passable success. We're talking like, a 31,000 point clear or something, which is like the 70th percentile. Is really not good.
Yeah, it's also
But
that the thing with that Vesper boss. I would it's gonna be hard to get 3 stars on that one, no matter what you do. I like the other 2 bosses this week. I just kind of did my normal way and just took whatever score I got because I wanted to get back to playing East 10. But the Vesper boss, I actually had to pay attention, and my score was 20,878.
yeah, the thing is that normally I get better scores from. My score seems to be more dependent on how familiar I am with the team. Like I can play Yishin way off element and even off type, and I can still usually pass 30k. But the dead on match for everything, Miasma Fiend is like I must squeak out the victory just barely using whatever resources are available. Like it doesn't really matter what I do, but yeah, I guess I'll have to see how it goes. I'll see what I can do. I may end up pulling Suna and no W engine, Nangong and no W engine rather than Nangong with W engine, which is what I would pull just for liking the character. Is I would pull Nangong and a W engine. But the problem is that Nangong doesn't do anything if you don't have solo on field anomaly team. So
There
yeah,
is another route you could go. One I don't think
is
you're
this a
as
serious route or a joke route?
no, it's a serious route. That I don't think you're as sanguine on. You could get the booty bot and just grab Nangwang and forgo Suna and run her in a traditional
That-
anomaly shell.
It's possible. It's possible. It just doesn't really seem that sort of like resource rather than burst focused a version of the Arya team. And I I've played Arya and I don't like the feel of her compared to Alice. Like I would rather play Alice
Yeah.
as a matter of like, because to me in an action game, liking your main damage dealer and how they feel to play is very very important.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I don't like using the Yoshingwang team, because I don't like the feel of it. I really like playing Alice on field the same way I like playing Caesar and I like playing Yishin. Like they're my favorites by far to play. They all have certain things in common, even though they operate out of different roles too. Like they're all sort of like very sort of solid, linear, counter focused type of play. Don't really need to be very mobile because the mobility is built into their kits, or the lack of mobility, and it doesn't really matter for Caesar because she's so tough. Like they align with my preferred way of playing. Arya's sort of like flailing around, flying through the air, bouncing up and down, doesn't appeal to me at all, which is why I sort of wrote her off as don't really want to pull her.
Yeah. The only reason I recommended that route is because most of the Alice shell would remain free to be used as a second team or a second anomaly team if you went that route. If you still got Nangwang, because then you would only need to defer one character to the Arya side to make that shell work, and it would cover the ether weakness problem.
Yeah, I mean that is a thing. That is a thing. Um, because even if I use Alice, Alice is still going to be neutral element, which is better than strong resistance, but it's still, I don't know. What did you use on her?
Jane Vivian Yuzaha.
Right.
It Vivian did not contribute very much to that. My
Have
Vivian spear
have
is quite
you
bad.
have you have you built Suna yet?
She is acceptable for me, which is B's and A's for the
Hmm.
drive discs. Um, but Suna actually didn't go anywhere. Uh,
Because
I
I'm kind of curious as to how the layout would work. Um, like if you were to,
I've kind of
because
penciled
I'm sort of
Suna.
interested, like if you put pair Sinner and Jane and someone else, I'm sort of interested to see how whether on-field physical with Sinner support and say Yuzuha support would actually function against um Vesper.
Yeah.
Like if you
Um,
ran, could you like try running Sinner Yuzuha Jane and just see whether you can get past 17,000?
yeah, I can swap Vivian out uh for what you call it, backpack girlfriend. Well,
'Cause I'm just sort of interested to see how it performs because my read on Sinner's kit was that it was part of a shell to enable solo anomaly as opposed to duo anomaly, which is by far the most common for anything that's not a Miyabi team.
yeah, it's yeah, I can test it. Uh,
Because I
sure.
mean, regardless, Nangong's not going to be out for for a whole rest half of the patch. So if I were to pull Sinner, then I would have to try and run Sinner Yuzuha Alice on that, and I don't think your Alice is built, or at least I think you gave most of the good discs to Jane, didn't you?
My discs have been quite dire between the two of them, and Jane has all the good ones.
Yeah, so we'll sub Jane in and just assume that it's going to be a rough approximation of the performance you can theoretically get.
Yeah, my Jane has M2 to bring her up to Alice level. So at least in terms of output, so it should be roughly equivalent. My Jane will be doing more hits on field, so Suna may benefit her a bit more. But because I have two charges of
Alice is still a high hit count character, though.
yeah, I just the Mindscapes I have give me two charges of the turbo spin that I can hold
Yeah, well, I'm not really
for
interested in the minutia because I don't have Jane. I just want to know if you can run a physical shell like that against Vespa and get any mileage at all.
yeah.
Because I don't have any ether to help me. I have no ether options I can use there unless I can think of another way to kill Wandering Hunter, which I don't think is very likely.
Yeah. Uh,
That before HP went up, I could do Wandering Hunter with an anomaly team, but now that the HP has been raised across the board, I just don't think I'm going to be able to manage it.
yeah. I can pull Whipson out and test it. Uh, well, we can see how that goes. I'll do that after the show. Or
Anyway, that's enough wool gathering on theory crafting ZZZ. I think it's very easy to get into the weeds on, and at times that's a good thing. But when you're discussing the things that the game is attempting to do to undermine you, that's not such a good thing.
yeah, it gets you stuck in
So
the what I think of as the adventuring position I was in Star Rail, where I was just
yeah,
boxed
it's like
in.
you really don't want to go this route, but you're sort of don't really have a choice because you need to enable something binary,
Yeah,
like yes or no, we can do this or we can't type of thing.
yeah.
But anyway, that being what it is, we will move on to Genshin. So I have done just the main quest. Just well, it's not there. Let's start again. There is no main quest. There is no main storyline. Doesn't exist. There is no content in this patch. There's nothing to do.
Right.
So this is why I was so, you know, when you said that you were going to get caught up on Genshin. Well, I'm here to tell you there's nothing to get caught up on. There is Vaka's character story, and I saw lots of people talking about how great this was, and I thought it was absolute dog water. Like the presentation is pretty good, but it is completely devoid of content. That's my opinion on it. I don't know. It probably is not even really fair of me to say that because that might give you preconceptions or something that might impact your enjoyment of it. But I mean, it's still Vaka. Um, but that's the thing. My opinion was it didn't matter that it was Vaka. You could have just cut Vaka out of the plot entirely for his own character story, put Traveler in his place, and it wouldn't have changed very much. You
Yeah.
don't learn anything about Vaka. Vaka doesn't get challenged by anything. He doesn't have any difficulties. Like, he's just kind of there. The story treats him like an absolute Mary Sue, and the plot falls over itself in ridiculous ways to ensure that he, like, Death Note style, everything goes to plan for him.
Well,
The whole thing is the most juvenile crap I've ever seen in Genshin. It's really bad. It's not quite as bad as Mavwika's, but that's about the nicest thing I can say.
Mavwika's had a whole mess of separate, equally bad, but why did you put that in the middle of Natlan's story? That is the farewell. They put the farewell to Natlan story as Mavwika's character story, and they stuck it in the middle of the region's patch cycle.
But yeah, this one, I don't know what you're supposed to take home from this. Like, I guess if you're really interested in Andreas lore, this might be good for you. If you're really interested in sort of like Knights of Favonius lore, then this might be of interest to you. But it's, I don't know. There's nothing about Vaka in it, really. Like, there's a lot of stuff about the Knight of Boreas, but there's nothing about Vaka specifically. There's no reason why Vaka is important for the story at all.
Look,
other than the fact he's got such heavy plot armor that the story can't possibly let him fail. Therefore, he's the ideal hero of the story. The thing is that the reason why it stuck out to me is because I watch all of the corollary material for Genshin as well, right? So I know what Vaka's story actually is, and it's way more interesting than what they actually did.
Yeah. Although, speaking of that extra material, two things. Number one, for the non-penis averse, there might actually be some people that have been playing since 1.0 that are actually interested in the dumb woof because they mained Razor.
It's true. There are people who are interested in strange things for strange reasons.
Number two, I thought Varka's trailer was actually really good.
Vaka's trailer is quite funny. And Vaka's like background animation is quite interesting. Like, that's a way more interesting story than the one they actually told. They vaguely allude to it like twice in the actual character story, but that's the interesting part of the story is outside the game.
Oh, I didn't watch.
Vaka downplays it.
Yeah, if there was a character like story trailer, that's not the one I was talking about. I was talking about the gameplay trailer.
There is a story trailer. There is a story trailer, and that's why I said his character trailer is funny, but his story trailer is actually sets up for an interesting character story, which is the one I thought I was going to be getting and didn't get.
Yeah, I've just
because his story trailer is about, basically, the chess game.
Yeah.
Vaka was was the first person to ever pass the chess game, and he didn't actually even know that it was to obtain a boon from the Hexen Circle. He just did it to see if he could, and then he got offered the boon. And he was like, "Oh, I wasn't ready for this. I don't have an answer. Let me look at your scryglass." So the story goes on to say in the marketing material that basically a future unfolds where Vaka does all of the things Traveler does before Traveler arrives in Mondstadt and becomes like this grand hero. He goes down in legend, etc., etc. And what Vaka actually sees in the scryglass, though, is that there's something going down in the north, and it's going to cause big issues if nobody stops it. So he sacrifices the heroic future to pursue an uncertain thing in defense of Mondstadt, and that's sort of like the core narrative of the marketing. None of that is even slightly relevant to the character story they present you with.
I see.
Other than, oh, well, it explains why Vaka's a non-cry.
Yeah, I have not seen any of the story related extra material whatsoever, and Barker is not a character that interests me super much. Like,
well, he shouldn't, because there's literally no story to him now.
Like the dude that Gene always talked about in 1.0 is about all as far as I knew he existed in the game. Now, in fact, in his action trailer, which is the thing I did see, uh, the thing that caught my eye the most and caught most people's eyes, if I had to guess, was not Varka. Like Varka's okay in his own trailer, and it's really good, and they managed to do the animation okay. But what actually caught my attention was Alice's hair, Please animations, and the Z team must have got a hold of Jean for like 3 seconds in that trailer. For which she leans over the table to talk to Klee. All of a sudden, Jean has motion in assets that were not there before.
Anyway, the other thing about this is Vaka feels like dog water to play. And you have to play him a lot in his character story. And he is like 1.0 character level interesting to play.
Yeah.
Sub 1.0 character interesting to play because Mona's in 1.0 and Mona's got quite a bit of depth to her kit. Vaka has nothing interesting in his kit whatsoever. Every button in his kit is press button to do damage. That's it. He could be a 4-star.
Yeah, I've heard his. I haven't done much digging because penis averse and don't care. But from what I have seen that's leaked out through the YouTubes, he is, despite having all these elements he can interact with, he is incredibly team restricted. To him, Durin, Benny, and either Sucrose or Venti as the only team that has his damage workable in the current Nogcry environment with the amount of output that characters have now. And on top of that, his ultimate is actually a DPS loss in most cases.
Yeah, and I can totally see that happening because you kind of, a lot of the time you want his skill to be on cooldown so that you can normal attack to reduce the cooldown. And if you ultimate, it's just going to tie you up with several seconds of animation while doing sweet bugger all damage.
Yeah.
Right? It literally doesn't do anything. It's press button to do damage. That's it. Has no mechanics of any kind. Like, I'm really, really bewildered as to what they were thinking when they put this kit together. It's like almost as though like there's some other like super important character who hasn't come out yet who depends on there to be a DPS character which does exactly what Vaka does in order to trigger their effects or something. Because Vaka doesn't do anything of note. It's really dim.
Yeah, or he's a main DPS for the dedicated Hex and Circle team that Nicole will be there to support.
Well, the leaks for Nicole say basically that she's only about a third as effective for any character who is not a Hex and Circle, but she doesn't have the 1/2/3/4 Hex and Circle members restriction on her buffs. So you only, but what that basically says is that you need to have Hex and Circle characters, but the most important thing is that your primary damage needs to come out of Hex and Circle characters. So you could have a non-Hex and Circle to be your support, let's say. But basically, it seems like Alice's kit is just designed to replace Bennett specifically in that team. And that's pretty much it.
Or Nicole's kit, you mean?
Yeah, Nicole's kit is just designed to replace Bennett.
Yeah.
For the Vaka team. Now, that basically means that for 99% of people, Nicole is now a dead pull.
Yeah,
because she's a Bennett with a Hex and Circle restriction.
Well, there are only 2 Hex and Circle main DPS, aren't there? There's Klee and Varka.
There's the people who are hardcore Mona DPSs.
I mean, that there are teams that are on paper. I don't know if they're actually real.
So basically, the only use case for Nicole is if you are a clear aficionado, or if she gets validated in future by the existence of a playable Alice who is actually good, because it is absolutely not worth building a team around Vaka. It is incredibly boring to play him. He has no interactions and no skills. You just press a button to do damage. and then when it comes back, you press the button to do damage again,
It just
etc. That's like a whole gameplay loop.
it just looks like Unga Bunga Dilute Prog Max.
I mean, it is basically Diluc Pro Max. So I don't really understand why he even exists.
I mean, he doesn't throw your loot off the cliff. I don't think.
Well, I don't know. I haven't tried it. Maybe he does, but yeah, it's. I don't understand why this character was made and why it was released in the way that it was, because it's so boring to play. There's just nothing to it. Maybe
So,
that. If they were putting, I would not have blinked if they said that this character was going on the standard banner for any reason other than the fact that that banner's already loaded with an emo. Like it would have made total sense to me if this was going to be the new permanent 5-star for the region.
yeah.
It'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It's quite simple. It's got a reasonable amount of sort of power behind it that is updated, but it's absolutely not cutting edge. He's not going to be in any top tier teams, but he's still quite usable for a new player. Okay, I can see why you would put Varka in the standard banner. No, he's a premium character.
I mean, there are people that just want the Unga Bunga brain off play, and if they happen to not be penis averse from a gameplay perspective, that might appeal to them. There are
Just
people
all those millennial women who started playing during lockdown.
yeah, and then there is the contingent that have convinced themselves they've been waiting on Varka forever, or maybe they really are 1.0 heads that were lore hounds, all two of them, and have been looking forward to Varka. But I've seen a disproportionate amount of YouTube commentariat whenever Genshin rolls around, talking about how Varka is the most anticipated character. I'm like, no, you guys, man, y'all nuts.
Like you can't have Alice and Varka appear in a story and then call Varka the one who is most anticipated.
Like Varka is known about. Like some people were probably wondering what he was up to and looking forward to him, but most anticipated, I don't think he even breaks the top 5.
Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure that Istaroth is more anticipated Asmodee's more anticipated, Rhyndot is more anticipated. Yeah, basically everybody's more anticipated.
Yeah.
Barbaros more anticipated.
Yeah, all the witches, all the shades, all the people related to Conria, like all of them are more anticipated than
the remaining harbingers.
Yeah, like there's a laundry list of people that have had way more exposure in the background or in the foreground.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, but Varka is C-list.
like I would go as far as to put him on B list. He did have quite a few mentions in the older lore list, but he's not at all like the most hyped character like the shills are trying to make him out to be. The most anticipated character.
Yeah, basically, I'm a little bit rustled because I really like Nicole as a character. I love her yapping.
Well,
but
like I mentioned,
unless there's an awesome Klee team that comes out for her, that like it actually works, as opposed to Klee being an afterthought like she is everywhere else, then there's just no reason to pull her.
Well, like I mentioned, after the show, the day after the show to you, when it comes to the Hexen Circle, at least, there is opportunity for the witches to form new packs with people, versus the other gimmicks. Like we're out of moons. we don't even have illusory moons left anymore. We've used them all up.
They keep breaking.
Like if we want more Night Soul characters, we have to go all the way back to Natland, and we're already overdosed on them. So as far as character gimmicks, though, Hexen Circle is the most easy to dump onto a new character, narratively speaking. Like
they stick their fingers in every pie, basically.
Yeah.
I was under the impression, though, that because the Hexen Circle do have a specific tie to Mondstadt, they have a specific pact with Mondstadt rather than with other political bodies. So I was sort of like more getting the impression that they will use a national mechanic rather than Hex and Circle for similar updates for the other nations.
Yeah.
Because they basically have, outside of the one time that Alice talks to you in Fontaine, the Hex and Circle are basically uninvolved in the other nations.
Was that Alice or was that one of the other ones?
I think I vaguely remember that it was Alice. I could be wrong.
She
I
was,
remember thinking it wasn't one of the usual ones. It wasn't Barbeloth and it wasn't Alice. It was Nicole. I'm pretty sure.
yeah. She was a teacup at the time, so
Yeah. Well, the thing is that if you do Nicole's hangout thing in Nod Cry, like the final stage is her yapping about tea. So anyway, but yeah, so that's the bulk of what content I've done so far in the new patch has been unbelievably disappointing, and the other chunk of content that is going to be up for about 16 days ish, or whatever their time frames normally are, 16 days more, I think, something like that. So it's probably a 3-weeker. It's basically just another event like the race up Dragon Spine one. What was it? The Soul Blazers one. So it's got like 3 mini games, including one combat one, a story that's time gated, and the reward in this case is a crystal ball skin to use over catalysts.
so standard mid patch mini story.
Yeah, but that's like the whole of the content for this patch. Like, I don't know. I keep checking the event thing. Did I like miss an Archon quest somewhere? Because this is not. I don't know. There is this thing built into that event where you go around re-experiencing memories from Mondstadt, etc. But so much of it is time gated that I don't know how much content is actually there. It doesn't really seem like very much, to be totally honest. It's got some funny moments in it, but they are moments.
There was a moment in the Varka action trailer where I'm like, Vol could take a page out of Varka's book, where Varka Alice doesn't get on screen, but her hair pops in and points outside, and Varka gets up from his desk, and Mika's like, "Where are you going?" He goes, "The winds of freedom are calling me." It just leaves work. Like, Vol could take a lesson in that. That would probably help. Fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, that kind of gets addressed, and Jean basically drags him back to his office and locks him in there until dawn.
Yeah, but he does.
That's how it ends up.
He does get to go play with Noelle and
He doesn't even get to finish his drink.
Oh, he gave it to the fish.
But yeah, so overall, there's nothing to do in this patch. Like, literally, this patch is completely devoid of content. I can only assume it all went to Millie Astral Wonderland instead or something.
Also, Fern, you dead?
No, not dead.
Story.
I'm just doing story stuff. I'm in the Black Shores now.
So are we.
Yoo-hoo is her default state seems to be shit-eatingly smug.
Or Yoo-hoo.
She's basically the Chinese antiques equivalent of a used car salesman. So
yeah, I'm getting that.
But yeah, it's a deeply disappointing patch. Part of me is not actually surprised, but going to have to really put on a impressive show to get people to be re-engaged, because this is really poor. It's really, really poor.
If Millie Astral Wonderland is making them enough money, they may not care anymore.
I mean, it could be. I keep seeing, like, as much as it seems like a non-entity, once in a while I'll see somebody post their like outfits tab or whatever, and it's just an absurd amount of stuff in there that's probably mostly paid.
Oh yeah, well you get a whole lot of just Drek for just signing in and making the check marks go away, or the exclamation points go away. But the the Gacha, when I finally just for funsies broke down what the heck it was doing with all the currencies and stuff, and how mean it is. Holy crap! That is the meanest I've seen a Gacha in a while for the rates and how much they want to charge you for it. And that's for a stupid what you call it, a stupid outfit for a mannequin. You don't even get a
For a
whole
bolt-on
character.
extra.
Yeah, like
Yeah, so it's a terrible patch with no content. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something very important here, but that's what it seemed like to me. I have scanned down that list a few times, and I still have not seen any Archon quest. I haven't seen any interlude quest. I haven't seen any prologues or anything like that, other than the joke prologue that they stick in there, prologue question mark.
yeah. When I
I mean,
booted it up to do dailies this morning, it did dump a paralog in my quest log without me asking it to.
it's there's a gag. There's a gag associated with that. Like that's not a real. It's not a real prologue. It's a gag.
Okay.
Like that whole thing is just it's a joke. There's not actually like story quests coming out of that.
Okay.
You'll see it's not a very good joke either. It's quaint, but not engaging. But yeah, not great. On the other hand, I've done like a good chunk of like 4.0, 4.1 World Quest last week, which was actually really engaging.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to sit down and think about it because they throw a whole bunch of stuff at you. But it's so far superior to what they've been doing lately, like it beggars belief.
Yeah, if it had voice acting, it could have been a major selling point for 4.0.
Oh yeah, like I would take that over a lot of the other stuff that they've delivered. Like it was majorly interesting compared to what they were presenting me with in the more contemporary stuff. Like the production values of modern Archon quests are really high and they're entertaining and engaging, but after that there just doesn't seem to be much left. And the world quests, some of them are quite good. I've enjoyed a lot of the Nodcry ones. I don't think they're quite as good as the Netland ones, but the sort of integration between major quests in Fontaine is something else. Like it's really really engaging stuff, really good content. And a lot of it makes a lot more sense now playing it long after the Nodcry stuff, because and this year's whatchamacallit Lunar Festival as well, Lantern Rite. It's there's stuff in there that plays into this as well. It's it's quite an engaging piece of content, and I'm not near finished it yet since it seems to really go on and on throughout a few patches.
Oh yeah, it's all there are at least 3 major parts that come together for a finale. Might be more. I don't actually know what all are prerequisites to trigger the finale, but it's a lot for that one mega quest series.
Yeah, I've done Seymour the robot dog. I've done Anne the tiny oceanid, and I've done Caterpillar the hilichurl. And now I'm up to the part where they're all starting to try and work out what actually ties them together.
Okay, yeah. So you've done the 3 major piecemeal parts of it then. I remember you getting quite amused by the frog.
Well, the frog, he's just such a dickhead.
He is a mean
Like
little frog.
he's like just so his head is lodged so far up his amphibian backside that it's amazing that he can actually form a sentence, because he doesn't appear to be able to say anything that isn't sneering at somebody else.
Yeah,
He's very French.
he is very French. Well, you
See,
are
you
in.
could have just saved a lot of time and just said he French.
We are in Fontaine, but that frog is the most French. Oh, I guess he's a
He is
frog in
incredible.
France, so that makes sense.
Well, he keeps talking about how whatchamacallit, the Lyris isn't a princess, she's just Miss Lyris because this is a republic, thank you so very much.
But yeah, all of Fontaine's world quests are pretty dang good. The weakest one is probably the Science Institute, and that one's still good. The other one you haven't done, the other major storyline, uh, the one with the underwater zone that came
Petrichor.
yeah the first major content patch that came out when we started replaying. That one's really good. So
Yeah, but I mean, at least this means I've got some content to play since there's a content drought everywhere else. Because I've cleared all of the exploration content in Nodcry now because they only released 2 zones, and they're pretty anorexic as far as content's concerned. Like I was able to clear them quite quickly. Normally it takes me a few weeks of intermittent play to clear a zone, but it took me like 1 play session each. Once I decided I'll clear this zone this afternoon. There's just not that much there. They every time things that would have previously rewarded you a simple chest now award you like a luxury chest and another chest or whatever. Like they shower you in stuff. Which is nice from one point of view, but yeah. Anyway, we'll just have to wait and see what happens going forward. Linnea's going to come out. Her whole kit has been leaked as it currently exists on CPT now. It's basically the same as the Scoffier's kit, except based around Lunar Crystallize. So I will certainly be pulling for her. She's pretty much operates in the same way, although she's got more options because you can technically use her as a burst DPS character if you're really, really hell bent on it. Because she's got like a tap, her tap version of her skill works pretty much the same as a Scoffier's tap version of her skill, in that it will summon a little petling thing which will apply her element repeatedly to things in your immediate vicinity and even when they're off field.
So-
Okay, so that's really fairly understandable. But in her case, instead of just tapping it, you can just keep hammering that button over and over again, and she will feed it until it gets really fat, and then it will release a burst instead
so I got
of staying on field.
I got 2 questions for you because I haven't read the details of her kit. Simple answers because we're running long on time. With her kit, does the little pet thing count as a construct?
It's not made clear yet. It doesn't sound like it. Like there has been no statement in any of the kits that I've seen that say it counts as a construct.
Okay, not that big a deal because the Lunar Crystallize little doodads.
The Lunar Crystallize is going to give you all the construct you need, so it's not necessary for it to be.
Yeah. So, other question. I am considering pulling her to free up the Navia team, moves alone and off of it basically, and allow me to run triple Geo Lunar Crystallize with her, Chiori, Moon Waifu, and Navia.
I've seen people theorycraft that team, and it does work, and works reasonably well.
Yeah. Yes, Zelonin's wanted on a whole lot of teams, and if I can free her up to go to other teams, that would be handy. So I'm considering pulling her for that because I do not have any characters currently targeted, and Genshin is my healthiest in terms of premium currency aside from WoWo, where I'm sitting on a mountain that I haven't spent.
But yeah, that team is quite workable. I've seen people theory crafting it. There's no reason why that shouldn't work. It'll just mean you'll have to farm the same domains again.
I mean, I have not scrapped most of those pieces.
I have a full inventory at present. I've got to go through and do something about that.
I really should scrap some of them pieces. My artifact inventory is getting full, but I mean, more juice for the Navia team.
Yeah, no, she 100% works with Navia from what I've seen of the theory craft that people have been doing on CBT. I don't know if they're going to put some cynical bullcrap in there that says that you shouldn't run her with old school Geo, but her demo team for her trial stage in closed beta has Ningguang as the damage dealer, so presumably she's going to be a-okay for classic Geo.
Okay.
That would be what I know about that. Anyway, moving on. Woowa. I have only done the main plot, and it is an interlude one. It's not like a full scale one, so it's more of the scale of Chion's one. It's it's reasonably engaging. There's not a lot to it, but what it really serves to do is twofold. Number one, you get sort of like a picture of what is Rover's emotional state after the primary story. And Rover is not in a good way. Like this is for some of the most like directly characterized that you see of Rover, and a lot of it is done just through expressions and manner. She does not have patience for much of anything right now. She just wants to go and chase Ameth. That's all she cares about. And basically Luke has to try and talk her down from this attitude throughout the course of her their interactions, because it's not constructive. Right now, they don't have any way of ensuring that anything will go the way they want. They don't have enough information. They don't have a plan. So this is not the time to run off and start trying to pry open a gap between dimensions. So and then the second purpose that it serves is basically Luke reminds Ameth, hey, remember the Fraxidus? Yeah, those guys. They like Threnodians too. If you try and pry open the gap between worlds and let a Threnodian in, don't you think they're waiting, Johnny on the spot, to be ready for you to do that? So yeah, that's the basic thrust of the story. You hear a little bit about Luke and a little bit about who Rover was and how they interacted with each other in the past, and so on and so forth. The story in some sense doesn't really go anywhere. It's very much a setup chapter for future events. There's no like really earth-shattering revelations or anything. And you get quite a bit of insight into Luke's character, though probably not necessarily much more or different than what you could get just by watching his trailer, which is pretty good as well. But yeah, it's basically setup material for future events. There's no like big major turning point or anything like that. No. The state of play of Laharoi in particular is no different at the end of the story than it is at the start of the story, but it's basically about shifting Rover's priorities back to things she can actually fix, as opposed to things that are just her wanting to run off and cause chaos because. So I feel like it fits the current juncture in the story quite well. There are a bunch of like cool sequences and things that get revealed and so on. Like it's not like it's bereft of action. There's still stuff going on, but the purpose of it is to set up for the future, not to really change the state of play. But yeah, I haven't done any of the other content that's come out. I haven't done any of the events or anything like that yet. So
not even the goat or the exoswarm minigame?
I did do the exoswarm herding thing.
You're probably very glad you did that during Lent. I could see you getting very frustrated with it.
Well, the thing is that if I've had a few drinks, I tend not to get frustrated.
You say so.
I can just do something mindless forever if I've had enough drinks.
I see.
But it was not. I wouldn't call it terribly hard.
No.
There are things about the design that I don't understand. Like a lot of the time, the timed ice blocks, I didn't know why they were there because they didn't seem to be close enough to anything to make any difference. it was just a little bit bewildering to me why they bothered to include that mechanic, since it never seemed to serve a purpose. But yeah, and also I did not what I did not like was that the rules seemed to be a little bit inconsistent for how Exoswarm would react to you putting a pole in. Like the tooltips tell you, oh, you can startle them by putting a pole down and they'll try and move away from the pole. But there were many times I put a pole down and they just made a beeline for it. So I'm not really sure what they're getting at there.
Yeah, I didn't read, so I never had that problem.
I mean, it's one thing if the tooltips are impenetrable. It's quite another if they're actually just not telling the truth.
I mean, I just assume they're always lying to me or convoluted nonsense that will take too long to interpret.
Well, I mean, it's like literally 2 lines. It's not that convoluted. It's just not true. That's the problem.
So
But yeah, I don't think that there's anything else I've done in Woowa, and I'm setting aside the main plot for Blue Archive to consume at a later date. I don't think I'm not going to chase after it right now. I have other things that I'm focused on while my evenings are stone cold sober.
So, has there been any normal news this week that isn't Iran spurging?
Well,
The Iran spurging is definitely a big deal.
it's Pokemon spurging, obviously.
Oh, right.
There's Pokemon spurging, and there's a little bit of Final Fantasy 14 spurging.
I haven't seen anybody mention Final Fantasy 14, but maybe the algorithm has sensed that I'm too disengaged for them to.
It's nothing huge. The biggest news is really the that you got the FanFest coming up in April, which is likely where they'll be announcing the new expansion. The biggest spurg I've seen is they're doing the what was it, the 4.5 patch, and there's still no Beastmaster, even though the expansion is over.
Well,
So
the thing
there's
is
that.
that people were very, very aggressively anti Beastmaster after the performance of Dawn Trail.
Mhm.
Like, basically, the attitude was, we know for a fact that these sort of special classes like Blue Mage are like bullshit that doesn't go anywhere. Like, you don't really believe in supporting them. It's just a gimmick. So if you're
Yep.
just going to do that to Beastmaster, we would much rather you fix the myriad of other problems that you've introduced this expansion. So Beastmaster had basically had no excitement apart from the FF14 can do no wrong crowd, and
Mhm.
the FF14 can do no wrong crowd. It's not really a threat to you if you disappoint them. So
So yeah, it's kind of down the list of priorities.
Yeah. They honestly, whatever they announce at the fan fest, they could say every correct word at the fan fest, and that will just get my eyes to look in their direction. I'm not going to actually try the game out again until it's come out and then people come back with reports from the new expansion.
I'll
Like,
probably try it, but
because
yeah, words are easy.
I lost our houses and the subs.
Yes.
yeah, I don't care about that game anymore until there's like a story that I care about, that I have confidence I'm going to care about, and I don't have any confidence in them right now.
Dawn
It's
Trail was definitely not it.
Yeah, I need.
Yeah, like they showed their priorities were wrong. Like, everything about that story says that it was rewritten to suit a later introduced goal rather than the original story. And the original story was only, if I make assumptions about what the shape of the original story would be based on what we saw, it would have still been at best okay. And the changes that they made to, center complete bullshit into the middle of the story, and the aesthetic decision that suggested that Smile was an appropriate image song for the expansion, um, there's no reason to have confidence in that development team. Period. End.
Mm.
Yeah, they need to. I need to hear reports back from people that play it after the expansion launches to get me to even consider trying it again. the best a FanFest new expansion announcement can get me to do is look in their direction and make commentary if they say all the right words. But in this day and age, a games company can say everything correctly, and we can still get burned.
Oh yeah, they lie.
Like it happens all the time, and they've got two major issues if you take them broad strokes that I talk about all the time with 14. Number one is the narrative right now is dog water. Like
Yes.
every aspect of the story, from the characters to the overarching plot, has nowhere to go and is totally uninteresting. And what they tried to introduce in Dawn Trail was bad, really bad, and it all needs to be aborted. Wuklamont needs to be leased inside her little palace and never come out again.
She needs to be less than least.
Yeah, like
I don't mind it when least turns up.
yeah. Well, at least Least has a pretty haircut.
Least does have a pretty haircut.
I
I
stole.
never hated Lise the way people seem to hate
I
Lise. Like
I
she was
know, I
kind of a
know.
dork, but
Yes.
I don't know what people hated about her specifically, other than her being like an unhelpful foid most of the time.
She
Yeah.
was kind of a goober for the most of the part, but she never pretended to be anything else.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, it seemed like that was the Lise and Papalimo dynamic was for that. Like, if she hadn't been a goober, it wouldn't have made any sense.
yeah,
And now suddenly she's a goober with responsibilities.
yeah. But she the thing with I bring Lisa up because the community writ large did not like her and they locked her in the tower.
But this is like Star Wars prequels versus Star Wars sequels, though,
Yeah, it's like
because I remember like Lise marched into Stormblood with her head held high the way Wuklamart did, except that she got humiliated for her trouble at every turn. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's not as simple as this. You can't just soldier your way through using bluster and platitudes to get through all your problems. Real world isn't like that, which is the opposite of what happened with Wuklamart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Least got smacked down at every turn until she finally got her act together.
yeah, and yeah, it really is a Star Wars sequels versus prequel scenario. Like the community at large, I saw a lot of posts at Dawn Trail's launch that we owe Lisa an apology.
We do owe Least a big apology.
Like
So
and
Least was basically the same story arc as Wookiee, but yeah, much better.
yeah. So Woke Lamau and her contingent and where they've taken the story is the number one problem. The number two problem
Well,
is
The question is how many of those people are still working after the firings.
Well, that's a big question, isn't it? Apparently, a lot of them have been axed.
yeah, and I would not be surprised. Dawn Trail probably saw the biggest fall off in player count of all time, and this was after you.
It did. It's actually apparently starting to tick back up again. Maybe just in anticipation of the new expansion announcement. But
Yeah,
yeah.
they must have fallen so
It's
low
always like
during the
this-
mid patch cycle that
So like I want to stuff my cushion with feathers. Hey, let's slaughter the golden goose for that.
Yes.
yeah. So, and their other major problem that is going to be even harder to address, honestly, is their class homogenization problem.
Mm-hmm.
They have a class design uh, layout at the point we quit that is just fundamentally broken. Like there are just
Well, they've got like one class per role functionally.
yeah, they have turned it into a 3-class game with just what flavor of juice do you want to build and how do you want to spend it. Restrictions and strengths of each individual class gone. Flavor for each individual class gone. Visual effects are about all you got to distinguish yourself from anybody else. It's all juice builders and juice dumps. And that could be fine if you make it so that they perform with their niche abilities in specific roles better or worse, and don't worry too much about everybody needing to do everything, but they need to acknowledge a tough truth that is going to be really, really tough to do with modern MMO developers, that it's okay for some classes just not to be at the top at any given time. You don't need
Well, the thing
to
is that
Every given
that's
time.
the problem is that that's always the case anyway. Like, you can't succeed in any attempt to make that not the case. The mistake is to try.
Yeah. It was a fool's errand to begin with. And anybody that's, played MMOs should know this. Like there will always be a best, and if you're designing content that's only clearable by the bleeding edge when it comes out, some classes just aren't going to be applicable. But those same people at those guilds and that are trying that bleeding edge content are going to have multiple characters and multiple people on their roster to fill those slots for whatever's strong at the time. Like you don't
The
need to
thing
worry
is
about it.
it seems ridiculous to say these things though, because these guys are professional game developers. This should be obvious to them. So why are they doing something so obviously wrong? Like your objective should be to make sure that the old WoW saw. We just make sure that they're all viable. So you want to make sure you don't have a situation where the player who has built this is not so far behind that they can't ever bring that job that they've geared. You need to avoid that, but that's about the limit of it.
Yeah, you just
Where they fall in the pack doesn't matter that much.
you just need to make sure it's clearable by every reasonable combination of classes for standard
And if
class
the
loadouts.
contention is that they need to keep everybody balanced, then what the hell is Pictomancer?
Yeah. Like
Yes.
the class that came out on top as soon as the expansion launched and stayed on top the entire time despite repeated nerfs. Like
Yeah.
like that was just an overshoot so hard for no reason. People don't have to pay money for the extra class; they buy in the whole expansion anyway. It's just a gaff. But
Yeah. Especially if they're going to add another 2 classes, follow their pattern at this point.
yeah, and I think that honestly has been a problem with their class design. Like people like new classes and they're new and flashy and it's cool and it's nice to have new toys to play with. But
Mm-hmm.
when it becomes too much of a balancing nightmare for you internally that your design team can't cook it right and make everybody, able to clear content with diverse designs, maybe you should slow down your class introduction or put it on pause for a bit. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not a popular take in or out of the community, but it's the only reasonable one when you look at the
Why?
problems that have popped up.
Why shouldn't it be though? Because at this point, the classes have become so degraded that to fix them is basically like installing a whole new set of classes anyway. You're gonna get your new toys now if they have to revamp all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Do one class and do a revamp for everyone. There you go.
yeah. Well, you don't even
No,
have
do
to.
0 classes. Just get it
You
done.
can do.
Get everything. Get the ship upright in the water before you worry about decorating the deck.
Yeah, because
Yes.
I could stomach your story. Well, I couldn't stomach your story being bad. Your story being bad will make me mad no matter what. That's going to hurt my ability to continue playing your game as the
Well,
main game. But
I think the story was so exceptionally bad this time that that's going to be a magnified impression. Like it was not merely okay compared to previous ones, which were good. It was exceptionally bad compared to previous ones that were good.
yeah,
Yes.
so like
And once you kind of taint your appeal of the expansion as a whole because of that, everything else just falls flat.
yeah, and while that's going to be a thing that contributes to a decision to quit playing, the biggest factor in whether or not people continue playing your game after they picked it up is whether the game feels good to play. And you're a class-based MMO. If you have homogenized your classes to such a degree that they have, it just ain't good for your longevity with your player base. Like you've got to take every single class you've currently got in the game right now, and honestly, just rework all of them, every single one. I got worried about homogenization even before the paladins eventually got hit, but I remember specifically because I was maining paladin at the time when paladin got hit, and they just turned the last tank that had unique mechanics into exactly like all the other ones. I went, oh no.
Yeah. And I think the key way they have to do this is just take a butcher's knife to the button.
Yeah, like
Like they did it with Summoner, and Summoner honestly probably could do with a few more buttons, but everyone else has way too many buttons.
The thing is that Summoner got reacted to badly by a lot of people because it was the last autistic class in the game.
yeah,
It was ultra autistic because Dot is not a thing anymore.
well, it got paladined. Like they
It got
were
Paladin.
they were a class with a bunch of unique features that could be autistically mapped out and min maxed, and people like that because it was a more than build juice, dump juice. But then when they
It got
reworked it,
deflectism.
yeah, when they reworked it, yeah, it was more comfortable to play, and but it was just another build juice, dump juice. Your juice was just gems for using each
It has
different.
it also has one rotation. There's
Yeah.
not an optimal rotation and a suboptimal rotation. There is the rotation.
Yeah. Well, there was an optimal way to do it, depending on the order you summoned the primals and what buffs you had at the times they were popped out.
Yep.
Because Garuda
But that,
snapshotted. But
yeah, aside from Garuda snapshotting, that was not a huge difference.
yeah. And but yeah, but that's another consideration for some of the classes. A bunch of the classes have just to keep them at parity with ones that get reworks. They just keep tacking buttons onto them and pruning core clash features away. If a button's too complex, they'll prune it away or merge its mechanics with something. But then they'll introduce 2 more buttons, and they've got to a point where I play that game on controller when I play it, and I have to make Yoshi P cry and install plugins to play on controller for some classes. Like I do not have enough buttons on the controller without starting to dip into the back paddles, which I already bound to other crap like mounts and
Yep.
stuff. Normal utility functions like they're supposed to be.
Yeah, like who's kind of the worst at the moment, or like, who
Samurai.
was the worst when we saw it?
Samurai.
Samurai.
Like,
Yeah.
I can't map it to my MMO mouse, and
Oh
I've got
no.
I've got 36 buttons set up for it,
Yeah.
and I can't
Oh.
map it.
The only way to fit it on controller is to use a plugin that makes it so
Yep.
that on your main bar, in wherever you prefer on the face buttons, you have each of the stickers have its entire sticker rotation as one button.
Ugh.
It is literally the only way to make it work.
Yeah, okay. I have not played Samurai, and honestly, it's one of those jobs that just no.
They've already pruned it, but they pruned things that they shouldn't have pruned.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
pruned.
but left all the stickers.
They pruned all the utility abilities that and gameplay flavor abilities, things like guaranteed crits and stuff. But they didn't prune the raw button count for the main core parts of the class for the various types of ways you can dump their juice bar and the various ways they build and spin their stickers.
Like, if there is a button where there is no wise that you can use those 2 buttons apart from each other, one must always precede the other and the other must follow the first, then there is no reason to have 2 buttons.
Yeah, and that would go a long way to giving you headway to add more buttons to classes to make them more complex and have an identity again.
Instead, they took away things like guarantee a crit on your next strike.
Yeah, like abilities that on paper, they have an optimal place to be used, but intelligent players can min-max depending on the fight and get a whole lot of you can get some mileage out of if you just do a boss fight a lot and know the optimal time to use. Or, you just really want to get a burst out right now for whatever reason while exploring or doing world content. Like stuff like that gives the player some agency in the way they play. That's the kind of crap they cut. But
yeah,
they have done nothing with Samurai in particular to prune the problem of button bloat with just its basic crap.
Yeah. They trimmed... Who did they trim? They trimmed Monk, sort of.
Monk, they basically made play itself.
Yeah, it is press the button that is shiny now.
Yeah, you I forget which button is the opener now.
I didn't try the new Monk. The old Monk was very confusing to me. Like I tried Monk and Endwalker, and I was like, you know what, I'll learn one rotation, use that for everything, since I'm just leveling this up. I don't intend to play this ever.
I tried it, and it's fine, I guess. It's fine, but it just feels very rigid.
Yeah.
There's no flexibility as to when you can weave in certain abilities. It's like you use them at this time when the button is shiny, or you just don't use them.
Yeah. While Monk might not have been our preferred class, there was an autistic class of player that, it tickled their particular type of autism. Monk was for that player. And then they paladined it.
Yeah, it's like that. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing if it appeals very much to one particular player and not at all to other people. That's not a bad thing. It means that particular part of your customer base has exactly what they want. And when somebody has exactly what they want, they will defend it to the death and they will shill it to anybody who listens. This is something you want.
Yeah, like Ibu played Monk. He liked OG Monk a lot. That was his flavor of autism. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then they paladined it, and they just made it easier to play. And by make it easier to play, because the only way they could get it to work was to functionally make it play itself by doing the Lupa thing of just highlighting every button you should hit. That really hurt Monk players, and they also turned it into a build sticker and juice, dump sticker and juice class.
Yeah. So
Like,
yeah, they've got to really get in and sort that out.
yeah. And to be fair, most classes will wind up being build sticker and juice. Like that is the bog standard way for a class-based MMO to set up its resources. But you can add flavors to the class, and you can add areas where they're strong and where they're weak to make them feel more engaging to play, without having to deviate from your sticker and juice mechanic system.
Yes.
Like,
But much like World of Warcraft, though, they've promised this type of revamp at length. But the question is whether or not they can actually cough it up, and whether or not it will actually be a revamp, or whether it will be like a superficial adjustment of a few things.
yeah, and yeah, the way they went, they need to 180 on a bunch of decisions they made that were seem to have been made in response exclusively to the highest level of player, who just want to autistically overparse on everything.
Yeah,
I mean,
don't
it's
listen to
impossible.
most.
It is possible that we'll get what we want because, unlike in a lot of similar companies, Yoshi P actually does have the executive power to just say, no, we're doing it this way now. I don't care what you've done in the past. We need to change it, and we're going to change it like this. If he gets the right idea into his head, he can push it if he has the will to do so. This is, but it's sort of like politics in the sense that nothing is really impossible in a sovereign country's parliament. The question is whether or not you've got the political will to do it, or whether you're terrified of losing support.
Yeah, like, I mean, sometimes when you elect a guy to the state council, they go through and they make your district into its own incorporated city, so they don't have to be beholden to the whims of the county. You didn't actually expect that to happen; it was always a possibility, and they said they'd do it. But once in a blue moon, it actually happens. Usually doesn't, and you are fully expecting it not to happen. And it's much the same case here. I don't expect these changes to go the way they should, which requires 180 on a whole lot of bad decisions made during late Endwalker
It's
and
not
throughout all
just
of Dawn
bad
Trail.
decisions; it was contemporary wisdom across the industry.
Yeah, like you, and I think they have maybe a slightly higher chance than average of at least making some headway towards it, because the drop off for Dawn Trail has got to just be atrocious. I haven't looked at the
They
actual.
learned a stark lesson. It had to be really stark.
Yeah,
Mm.
and like them abandoning features like Beastmaster, like I don't think most people taken if Beastmaster was released in just an okay expansion as just another thing to do, just another fluff class to play with some niche class specific stuff that you could group for or activities to do. I don't think too many people would have batted an eye and would have accepted it or even really enjoyed it. But the fact that they've
I
had to
think
cut it shows that they realize there are at least some other things that take priority right now.
Yeah, I think that this is like a resourcing thing because putting Beastmaster in is not a one-time commitment of resources, unlike other features that are gimmicks. Usually, if you put a gimmick in, you can like just drop it. You don't need it to keep it up. But the Beastmaster would have to be supported in an ongoing way to, at minimum, the extent that Blue Magic was.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Even though they put
it's
Blue Mage in and ignored it for 2 expansions.
it's harder to just drop it. Like, I expect, don't know, but expect that they're going to quietly hope everybody forgets the Island Sanctuary.
Yeah, that was a.
I think so, because they're kind of pushing everything towards, was it Lunar Expedition or whatever it's called now?
Yeah, that was also a from I haven't tried that, but I've not heard amazing things about it.
I've heard very up and down things about it. Like one patch cycle, people will be like, "This is the best thing since sliced bread," and the next patch cycle, they'll be like, "This is complete dog water," and then the next patch cycle, they'll go back to, "This is the best thing since sliced bread."
Yeah, well, Island Sanctuary.
Hopefully, what that implies is that they are doing a Bozja thing and learning a bunch of lessons through experimentation there that they can bring back to the main design.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the exploration zone not having glowing praise coming out of it is what made me cancel my sub. Like I didn't even try it when I got the reports back of the new exploration zone, the successor to Baja, because
Hmm.
those were the biggest, meatiest chunks of places where you could just play the game. And when they came out with what they did, like it sounded like it was workable, but I was at a point where it needed to blow me out of the water, and it didn't sound like it was going to do that.
Yeah, it's just kind of a thing that is there, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, like they really need to focus on those for in-game content. I hope in the future. I think that's their easiest path to gameplay victory for generic gameplay. Is to really focus on those. And
Yeah, well, the thing is, if the game feels good and engaging to play, everything else will be uplifted by that.
yeah, and that starts with your classes in a class-based MMO. The most important thing is the method through which the players are interacting with it, and that's going to be through their class. And you've got to fix that.
Unless, of course, you just want Work Lamar to do everything for you.
Yeah.
No, I do not. Unless that thing is go away.
Talk to Work Lamar.
No. So, all right, well, that's that. The other big thing was Pokemon did the thing.
This one's all you.
Not really. There's not a whole lot really to say. They put out their big direct, but the only thing of actual substance was that they announced the next generation. From what we can tell, it's set in the Philippines, and your water starter is a gecko. There you go.
Again?
It's a
Yeah,
gecko
the
as
starters
opposed
this
to a
time.
zebra gecko.
The starters this time look like basically they could be variants of extant Pokemon. Like they're so similar to other previous starters. That's like, why did you even bother to come up with new ones at that rate?
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't have a fire dog yet, but there is a Pomeranian in the game already.
I mean, yeah, but we have plenty of fire dogs. We have Growlithe
There's
and
plenty of fire dogs.
and Houndoom, and and their
Yep.
lines.
We already have a water lizard,
Yeah,
and
yeah, we had
we have
Froakie and
grassburns.
Yeah, Owlet was like of his generation the only one that people talked about because they liked Owlet, and then you
I
got
like Owlet.
and then you had Froakie got Greninja, like the last amphibian with big sticky fingers that we had was the signature for his generation from the starters. Like,
Yeah, James Bond gecko,
yeah.
and now we have
so we've done it.
different eyeball-looking gecko.
I forgot about that one. So we've done it 3 times.
Done it 3 times, yes.
For
Well, one was a frog and a lizard. So yeah, I've seen. Well, okay. The highest praise I can give is it did not have any low FPS pop-in windmills.
I mean, that they're not going to show that in the trailer.
They did last time.
Okay, they did last time, but it created such outrage that they're going to hide that.
You'd think so.
It's a matter of what's this game going to look like when it comes out? Because I remember that people were excited when they saw the ZA trailer that looked like everything looked good on the surface.
And then ZA turned out to be just dishwater.
Yeah, and then the game came out, and everybody that rushed out to buy it day one was like, "Oh, I wish I hadn't did that."
Yes, it's like chewing on soggy cardboard.
Yeah. Like,
so yeah.
There's also the fact that the meme is that being sent to the Philippines is roughly equivalent to being sent to the 7th circle of hell.
I mean, you're not living unless you've been thrown into orbit by a cyclone. This is how the Philippines do.
Well, it's also. Never mind.
Yeah, no.
I have to interact with the Philippines for work sometimes when we sell stuff there.
Yeah.
Don't get a Filipino electrician to do the house you're building is the meme around New Zealand.
Yeah, don't no. Fun fact, kids. Did you know that in the US the electrician's code book is not written in Spanish? For most districts.
That.
So anytime you get people from certain areas of the world claiming to be electricians, I would be suspect.
So yeah, that's basically all we know. Is also that the game is going to be exclusive to the Switch 2, which should surprise no.
Yeah.
But nobody owns a Switch 2. I'm clinging to this assertion because I don't know anybody who owns a Switch 2. So, well, apart from Aristeal, who wouldn't own one, were he not basically strong-armed into it by his family.
Yeah, like I had family peer pressure, which is a bit stronger than friend peer pressure, to grab it, and that's the thing is I do know people around real life that own Switch 2s outside the family, but what I have noticed is they were either A, in my position, they were cajoled by people they knew into getting one, or B, they have just dropped it because the only good game on it has been Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
I guess they must just be hoping that another Pokemon's going to be the killer app
Yeah,
to get it to really kick off.
well, they had Metroid Prime 4 come out, and it was not very good, according to what people said. I haven't played it yet.
Yeah.
I heard no hype about it.
Yeah.
It kind of existed, and then the game was padded out by an empty desert for like 4 hours.
Yeah, it was mediocre to bad and didn't feel like Metroid, is what the reports I got were, so I didn't bother picking it up.
Yeah. The first 3 Metroid Prime games were unique.
Well, the problem with it is they put a vehicle in and made an open world segment in a Metroid game.
Yes, that is completely unnecessary.
Well, it's just that's not what people that play Metroid are there for.
No.
Like we
Yeah,
have
they're there to turn into a ball and slot into something.
like we are here to explore a defined claustrophobic map with a whole lot of twists and turns in this maze, and learn it inside and out, and get through and find everything, and come out the end all by ourselves, and blow something up at the end.
Blow the planet up on the way out.
Or do it like Metroid Dread, and on the way beating up, blowing up the planet, we beat up Chicken Daddy.
Chicken.
No, that's literally what happens at the end of Metroid Dread. You beat up your Chicken Daddy.
Well, you can't always blow up the planet.
I mean, the planet gets blown up too, but
oh, never mind.
But the focus is more on the chicken is your daddy, and you need to beat him up.
You beat up your Chicken Daddy.
Because
we already knew Samus had a chicken daddy.
Well, we knew she had an adoptive chicken daddy. We didn't know she had a biological chicken daddy.
No, the biological chicken daddy is new.
He well, kind of daddy. She was already human born, but he injected his chicken DNA was the chicken DNA injected into her to make her the contortionist that can roll into a morph ball.
This sounds extremely questionable.
Oh, Metroid lore is weird.
Don't worry.
It was written in the 80s.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Don't think about it. Just don't worry about it.
Just know that Samus has chicken DNA, but the DNA was from an evil chicken. We didn't know it was an evil chicken. Yeah, we didn't know it was an evil chicken until now.
Yes.
It was actually a really hype story moment. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed Dread a lot.
Someone at Nintendo at least knows how to still make a good Metroid.
Yeah, and that was only like not even 5 years ago, I don't think. It might have been right at 5 years ago.
Not long ago.
And
when did it?
So there's clearly some people around that still remember what a Metroid game is supposed to be. Unfortunately, it's not for the people making the current Metroid Prime.
Yeah, Metroid Dread was 5 years ago. Okay, well, almost 5 years ago.
Yeah, about where I thought.
Yeah, 2021, October.
So, yeah. But yeah, 4 was not it.
4 was not it. And there needs to be a game to get me to buy the Switch. The Switch 2. Donkey Kong is not that game, but it's on the list.
Yeah. Like,
and honestly, at this point, Pokemon's not that game either.
Unless you... Yeah. There are a lot of good things in the Donkey Kong game on its own merit. The thing that pushed it from just good to a genuine full-throated recommendation was mostly for people that have played the older games. It's still good on its own merits, but its ending with its big throwback to classic Donkey Kong Country, Rareware Donkey Kong Country, that pushed it over. By itself, it would be good as a good game, but not a system mover. I don't think it could be close to one, but it's not quite there. And Mario Kart World is a laughable.
Mario Kart World is just no.
Like people,
I've got I've got Mario Kart 8. It's better. If I wanted a new kart racer, I'd go play the Sonic Cross Worlds.
yeah, I've heard Mario Kart 8 is starting to while it's maintained most of its player base, after the the obligatory exodus when the new game comes out, it's hasn't lost any and is maintaining it, while World is drying up fast. The only thing that seems
Yeah.
to be keeping World alive right now is the fact there's nothing else to play on the Switch 2.
Yeah. So if you want to play anything else, you can just go back to your Switch 1, where your save files are.
Yeah. So there is promise there, and Nintendo honestly just needs to be kicked in the nads over everything for the last like
Over a lot of
10
things.
years. They've
Well, I
not.
think that they're probably going to end up coming out ahead in the current environment because they have more experience creating first party system movers on a system that doesn't have very high tier components. And what can nobody else get a hold of right now in that space?
Yeah. Like Xbox is functionally out with random
Yeah,
chest.
and Sony's not too far behind at this point.
PlayStation 6 development is dead in the water. They've basically given up
Yeah, it's
because
Yeah.
they can't get a hold of the components that they need to actually put together saleable systems.
yeah. The
Good old Sam Altman's made sure of that.
Yes.
Yeah, you got even Steam in its it was gearing up to move for at least a shakeup, probably not a full paradigm shift, but at least a major shakeup in the market. Is like, yeah, we can't even make Steam Decks anymore.
Yeah, and forget about the GameCube.
Yeah, like that I imagine they wanted to price that thing as competitively as possible to get people onto the Steam marketplace that normally would be console gamers, but with the current
I did
price,
see one price being thrown around at about $950.
yeah, I saw
for the
about
GameCube.
800 to
But
900.
that was before everything really started to bite down as well.
Yeah, but now you're looking at now that you're probably looking at 1,500 for that thing.
Yeah, and half of that's just the RAM.
Yeah, like that would
And
be
it's not going to slow down either.
yeah.
It's going to keep getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the only thing that's going to make it recover is basically the AI bubble has to pop.
It's going to pop at some point. We just don't know when.
Well, the question is like, what is the form of that going to take? Because it could get worse before it gets better. Like,
Oh, it's
yeah,
guaranteed
it's
to get worse.
you can't usually can't have multiple simultaneous winners, but everybody is setting themselves up for the chance to be the winner. There are a few sort of like market anomalies at the moment. Like there's a handful of really big companies that have converted all of their cash into hardware investments for like multiple years worth of production. But then there's like Apple, right? Who didn't go in on the AI bubble, but they did go in on building up a large reservoir of cash as though they were going to. And nobody's really sure what they've got in mind because they acted like they were going in on it and now they're just sitting on a huge pile of money. So they're obviously waiting for some shoe to drop.
Yeah. Maybe they're waiting for the bubble to burst and then they'll come out with a new line of not AI products.
Yeah, so they're going to have money when a lot of major players won't have any money because they will have lost the AI battle.
Looking at you, Microsoft.
So either they're going to be able to clean up all of the resources that the people are going to be looking to liquidate, or they are just waiting to see what the market space will look like to get in on the next big investment.
yeah.
Mm.
But it's unfortunate. I do hope that the Steam controller still finds a way to weasel itself out of Valve's hardware vault of upcoming
How
stuff.
much RAM does it need?
Yeah, like it's a controller, so in theory none, but you never know these days.
You never know.
What if it's a smart controller?
I mean, it could be. There could be hidden features on there I don't remember on the page. It's
Well,
possible. I doubt it, but it's possible. But yeah, the OLED Steam Deck that I've been using just has the sticks feel amazing on it. There's Vol's been
Oh
having
my!
yeah, he's been having trouble with his controller drifting the past little bit, and
Yeah, mate, I've killed my third DualSense. Like they always end up drifting to the right. And now I'm trying to fight things, and Sabaya's like, "There's something really interesting that you can't see just off to the right side of the screen. I'm going to go and have a look, okay?" And I'm like, "No, throw horses at people. That's what I hired you for."
yeah.
But yeah, it's basically become a complete disaster at this point. When a controller starts to drift, it will initially only be barely detectable. That once it starts to really take, it will get worse and worse quite quickly. And I'm sort of at that point now where it's turning around to high speed degradation. So I've purchased another controller, an aftermarket one designed after the Xbox paradigm, because apparently Xbox Type 1s just work better with PCs. Um, I don't. This is an aftermarket one, not one of the major console brands or anything. So I am. It's in the post. When it gets here, I'll play around with it, and then I can talk about it on the next show, hopefully. How that all panned out, whether or not it was a good investment. Um, how that all worked. But this time I got one with non-potentiometer sticks, because I have had enough of drift. Thanks.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
just as soon not deal with that anymore. But I've ruined 3 controllers. The first 2 times it was just inside 12 months that it started to drift, so I was able to get it replaced under warranty. But the third one, it's like the 13-14 month mark now. So it's just outside and I can't use the warranty this time. So I
Yeah.
was stuck with buying a new one. Hopefully the new one will treat me better than the old one did.
So drift is always something I'm worried about. It was particularly bad when I was playing 14 because, as you know, the way latency works in that game, if you get drift on your left stick, good luck casting anything.
Yeah.
Man, I
So
hadn't even thought about that.
yeah,
That sounds awful. I mean,
yeah.
I do, although I should have, because like my problem is I can't open the party customize menu in Genshin because it's got that fake loading bar thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's awful. Yeah.
Oh. Oh.
So
So
I have to like coax it to be perfectly still before I try and open it.
yeah. So I bought the DualSense Gucci Burr Super Pro Max, whatever it's called,
It's
because it had
$270 in New Zealand.
yeah, it's way too expensive for what it is, because it's got swappable sticks. So if there's drift, there's a very high chance I can just replace the sticks, unless it's
Yeah, they
really
even sell the sticks in New Zealand. The sticks are like $20 or $30 for a set.
yeah. Um, so that's the reason I got this one, and I have not encountered drift with it yet, but it does feel like it uses something different. But that's still not good enough for me because I don't trust Sony. Um, and when I click these sticks in, they still feel like the other sticks, and I just am always worried anytime I press L3 or R3. Am I moving this controller back into Drift Town the more I push this button? When I push it on the Steam Deck, though, these things feel like they're made of just this way sturdier stuff, and I don't have to worry about it. And they snap back into position immediately when you let go. They feel very good to use. They have a more appropriate amount of resistance instead of the variable amounts you can get between dual senses. Every Steam Deck I put my hands on has had relatively consistent tension on the sticks, and it just is set at a level I like, which is relatively high. And that the sticks are also replaceable on that thing on the Steam Deck, and presumably they will be on the Steam controller as well. I mean, they're not as hot swappable as the current DualSense Edge or whatever. You do have to get a screwdriver out and bust open the Steam Deck to swap them, but it's none of the current shenaniganery involved in modern DualSense swapping, because you can replace the sticks in the DualSense in a very
Well, user serviceability was on the design brief for the Steam Deck.
yeah, like It is a very technical qualification I'm giving there when I say you can replace the sticks on the s- on the regular DualSense, because there you have to pull the whole dang thing apart, and the ribbon cables inside that thing are put up in such a way that it feels like these. And I have torn one before. That the slightest misstep will tear one of these stupid ribbon cables.
They are so ridiculously delicate.
They're so tiny too.
And they're
Like
so teeny weeny.
yeah, they like these things are designed to make serviceability near impossible, so you just have to buy another one.
Like
They're,
when I
they're
replaced my Quest 3, I actually had to take it apart 3 times to get that ribbon cable to stay put.
yeah, like those things seem designed specifically to be a hassle for people trying to service their thing themselves, and for no other purpose. Because a cheap plastic copper clip-on for connecting stuff would work just as good with no noticeable difference in performance at all.
It's right to repair is a whole big thing.
Yeah, but the DualSense base model just does not want you to bust into that thing. It is just a right pain in the butt with all kinds of traps for the amateur, non-professional doing this stuff. And yeah, I just don't trust Sony. I would much rather give Steam my money because the Steam Deck stuff feels really good. And now if they moved away from whatever the heck the first Steam controller's idea of a control pad was, um, for its not sticks, and we have proper sticks on it. If they're as good as the ones on the Steam Deck, I'd be all in for that. Oh, nope, nope, cartwheel, don't fall down. Yeah, I'm hoping that doesn't get delayed because in theory it doesn't need any of the components that are currently in high demand.
In theory.
In theory,
So today I'm currently using with Woowa the Switch Pro controller, which Steam is able to diplomatically negotiate with relatively well. However,
Mm.
without Steam acting as a go-between, uh,
Oh yeah, don't.
the Hoyo games, particularly ZZZ, but also Genshin, did whatever the electronic equivalent was of throwing up when I attempted to use the Switch Pro controller with them. They were not happy at all.
Oh yeah, I've had it work sort of with some games, but you got to also remember that games that were made for for Microsoft or for PlayStation don't have the button glyphs for the Switch, and therefore your button commands or what button it's telling you to press is the opposite usually of what's on the Switch controller.
Yes, because for whatever reason, Nintendo decided that A and B needed to be reversed and X and Y needed to be reversed.
They've been doing it for 30 odd years, and they're never going to change it.
yeah, about to say I think this one's actually Xbox's fault for once.
It
Uh,
I think it was actually
I think
because they've
that
been
No,
curtailing
because
it for so long.
Nintendo didn't have a PC compatible controller ever. So
no, on the Super Nintendo controller, it's in the same positions on the Pro controller that it was on the
I
Super
know, but they never had a PC controller, so I don't care.
So yeah, you kind of have to keep that in mind, and it's one of those things that is going to slow you down.
So yeah.
So anyway, is there anything else worth talking about?
To be fair, where if you look at the Switch controller and then you compare it to a Nintendo controller, where the B button is on the Switch controller was the A button on the 64 controller, and where the Y button is where the B button is on the 64 controller.
Well, while I have much experience with the N64 controller from my youth, looking back, I still have trouble processing how I use that thing.
Listen, you need to grow another arm, okay? Just get good. It was clearly designed for people with 3 hands. Skill issue.
So yeah. Um, I do not think there is any other gaming news, and the entire world is probably for the next half week going to be spurging about Iran.
Well, that depends on whether this war goes on for any longer.
Yeah, it could
I mean,
extend.
are they going to go for the forever war play, or are they going to go for the quick and dirty abduct the president approach?
Yeah,
I mean,
we
they've
will.
already put Khomeini down, so
Yeah, we will see. But yeah, I expect that Spurgery to at least eat next week's show and maybe ongoing for a while. Hopefully, we don't get another forever war that turns into Ukraine too. The social media Spurgfest that leaks into all of my feeds when I'm not on social media. But yeah. All right. I think we're done. Y'all got anything else?
Yep.
I was
Nah.
briefly hypnotized watching Amos sing.
Yeah.
Alrighty. We will see y'all next week then. Sayonara. Bye bye. Love you guys.